is about to begin. Please turn off your cell phones. Unless you're texting me, cuties.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Tomb Raider 2 Golden Mask live stream where we're gonna play Tomb Raider 2 Golden Mask, ironically. I mean, what a surprise. Can you hear me alright? Do tell, is my face in sync with my mouth hole? Because that apparently doesn't happen all the time. Yes, you can hear me. Good, that's fine. Okay, let me introduce you to today's heroes. Okay, so today we have Phil Campbell, the lead designer of Tomb Raider 2 Golden Mask. Phil, say hello.
Hello. You heard that, Chris, right? Lead designer, right?
I assumed you were. I assumed you were.
Secretly.
The boss.
We also have Kris Renkewitz, who did some of the levels as well. Kris, say hello.
Hello, everyone.
Did you do anything else other than a few levels?
Yeah, I did some texturing with Rebecca, and then I did some well, I famously designed the golden mask, which I never got one of, but Phil's got one. He's got a golden mask. I never got one.
Oh, there's Ash.
you know,
Have a look at this.
Oh, he's going too?
Oh my God, you
what is
can
that?
design.
I don't have one of those.
Okay,
I designed that stupid thing.
Okay, terms and conditions. Okay, Chris, calm your tits. This is not real one. It's a 3D printed one, unfortunately. I could not find the real one, so this is a fan-made.
Right on.
I always wanted one. But yeah, if you want, I can give you a link to a person who actually did it for me. He could make one for you if you want.
I'm waiting for Phil to let me have his for the last 25 years. He got it for the first 25 years. I'll get it for the last 25 years.
That is fair.
Chris, I'll leave mine to you in my will since, you're going to be around a lot longer than me.
Oh, you have one as well, Rebecca. We were supposed to give those out for a competition, so only one person other than us in the world has that then, apart from you, Ash, with your fakes.
And that brings me to our last guest for today, but not least, Rebecca Shearin, the texture artist. Hello, Rebecca.
Hello. Very nice to be here.
Texture Queen.
Texture Queen, yes. And Mike Schmidt, the producer for Tomb Raider 2 Golden Mask, might pop in every now and then. He's in work, so it's California's like 1 p.m. right now, or 12, is it? So he might come in. So we pretty much have the entire developer team for Tomb Raider 2 Golden Mask here, which is very exciting. So today we're going to play Leopard Skin is Coming, Yu Zheng, when I play that level. Today we're going to play Tomb Raider 2 Golden Mask. As I said, I will be cheating a lot just so we have enough time to showcase all the levels. Oh, thank you for the raid, Fluffy Quack. I might miss some of the alerts. Please bear with me. If you have questions and I did not read it, feel free to repeat them a few times because I'm playing and monitoring chat at the same time. You guys, our wonderful guests, by all means, feel free to interrupt me with your facts and some trivia, by all means. We are here for you. It's your stream, effectively. And whilst I have everyone's attention today, we're giving away this autograph from Judy Gibbons, the voice of Lara in Tomb Raider 2 and 3. To enter the giveaway, just type !giveaway all together. One, terms and conditions apply. It's worldwide, but you have to pay the shipping. It should not be expensive. So it's large letter, about £2-3 UK, probably £5 EU, and probably about up to £8 to £10, maybe America and world. Shouldn't be expensive. But by all means, do enter, and hopefully you will win it. Good luck with that. And on that note, I just want to give some shout outs before we start. We're going to play the Tomb Raider 2 main version of this. This is heavily modified version of Tomb Raider 2, modified by a guy called Arson, who is watching, I hope. He done some incredible work, which makes this game very clean. Some real-time reflections are added and lots of other stuff. So there it is. And before we even proceed anywhere, Rebecca, first question is for you, actually. That Lara's lipstick here, is that the Clinique that you can see on your screen? Is that the one you used?
Oh, wow. I don't remember at all.
Wait a second. I did
I don't
this
even-
screen.
Oh, you did this,
Yeah.
Kris.
I was just going to say, I don't think I did the screen.
Yeah, I did this last screen.
Kris, where did you get the Inuit? Someone was asking. He can't find the person can't find that picture.
I don't know where we got it. We sourced it somewhere online. I remember, or it was from a book that, because Rebecca, you had some books that we were kind of looking for textures and just kind of architectural stuff.
Is
And
that
I don't remember
Nanook by any chance? Nanook.
we either
the
scanned it
Eskimo.
or got it online. I'm not too sure which one it
It
was.
might be Nanook. It might be from that movie, perhaps. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm not sure.
but we're not certain on the lipstick, are we, Kris?
But that was your lipstick, right, Kris?
I guess
Yes.
so.
Oh, it matches your eyes, Kris. It matches your eyes.
Red is my favorite color.
Oh, okay. You know what, guys? Someone in the chat, subscribers, you can change the room lights to red if you wish by typing !red. You need to be subscribed to do that. Couple of things before we proceed. Phil, Melnikov Island is a fictional island, but the map is the kind of real Aleutian Islands map, isn't it?
Yeah, that was. I was on a Melnikov obsession because he was a Russian architect, and I obviously was an architect. So when we went to Moscow, and it was then called Leningrad, but St. Petersburg, we used to stay up all night drinking with the Finns, vodka, and then we'd go to bed at 6 in the morning and then get up at 7 to do architectural tours. And Melnikov was a big feature of that, and it became like our code word. We'd greet each other with the statement Melnikov. So
right, okay.
my obsession with that word lasted then, but the story, I can't remember exactly how we decided to do this. I know I drew that blueprint top left, and we coffee stained it and stuff to make it look old. And that is actually, I think, the design of the level, the basic core of the level. But the island we circled is the island we chose, I guess. But I just like the whole idea. We had to figure out from the resources we had from Tomb Raider 2 what we could make with those. And at this point, we weren't able to. We didn't change any of the character art, did we? I don't think.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I changed every single texture of those characters. Yeah.
Oh, and made the invisible ghost people out of the monks, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
And yeah,
We basically had all the
Kevin.
models, and we just redesigned them for something that we would want to use for this. But they were all individually new textures for the game, for sure.
right. Because this was the first time that we, all three of us had got together in IDOS in San Francisco and got to really do our own thing. But of course, no cutscenes. I pitched for cutscenes, but we were a cheap job. Ooh, that's a nice one.
I storyboarded that cutscene. Remember, I have the storyboards to that cutscene.
Yeah. And they
Yes,
wouldn't
we've
give us-
seen it. I don't have it at hand, so I can't really show it. But yeah, we've seen
You've
it's
seen
the
the
one where
storyboards?
Larry's at the computer, isn't
Yeah.
it? Like, and the camera
Yeah.
rotates around.
How does that? How do you have that? I don't know.
How do you have that? I don't even have that.
Yeah, how do you have that?
I will send it to you on LinkedIn. I don't know. It's leaked.
I
ages
have
ago,
it.
so-
I have the originals. I have those originals, but I don't know how half that stuff got
Can
out.
you scan them for us by any chance? Because we do have that one particular. We could be missing a couple. But that
We definitely
would
can
really
scan it,
appreciate
yeah.
Somebody's laughing on the sidelines there.
Yeah.
You know what
just-
he'd really love, Chris, is the manga you did based on Shadow of the Cat.
I have that. I have most of that on my Twitter account. But yeah, I've scanned most of that. I can show that.
I just refused to do it, which was really annoying because there's been so much manga and anime Lara since that we were really pissed off because that was the best part of the book.
The
They
funny
read-
thing is, I think they're just doing the anime series on Netflix for next year. So Tomb Raider
Oh,
anime.
they
Yeah,
actually-
that's right.
anime.
They did a compilation book, I think 2 years ago. Crystal Dynamics did a book with all the comics, or
Yeah.
like a second printing. It was like a massive book, and the head of I guess like the public relations, she reached out to me and asked if I would be okay with them printing the manga in there. And I said, sure, as long as I could get one. Never got one, so I don't know if it's in there or not. But she said it was. So I mean, so their last book that they put together could have it actually printed in there. Never saw it.
Yeah.
Just before I pressed Control Escape together. I'm playing on keyboard, old school. Just before we proceed, before I miss that question, Phil, this is probably for you because since you wrote the story, what's the purpose of Avalanche and why are they after the Golden Mask in this?
Well, Avalanche was only invented to be the world's longest acronym. And to be honest with you, I have no idea what it means. But yeah, I really don't remember. You know, it was just an excuse to build a whole bunch of levels. And so I think that I was kind of into Russia at the time and the Cold War and spy novels and things like that. So
my grandpa was in KGB, just so you know.
My mom was in MI6, so now we're going to be in trouble.
Oh, yes. Well, he died now, so it's fine.
So did my mom.
What is the main influences and inspiration for the Golden Mask levels? It's probably for both Phil and Kris.
Yeah, not for Kris, really. What? I don't know. Did you have any inspiration, Kris? I don't know.
No, we were just making things that were cool. We wanted to do a couple things. We definitely wanted to do outside stuff, remember?
Yeah, that was our big trademark, right? That we did more outside stuff than anyone.
Right. We wanted to do some sort of rivery waterfall thing, and it just kind of defaulted that it was going to be gold, right? Because of just the Golden Mask. And then we wanted to do the big giant room with the pillars. So other than that, we were and we wanted to do the Vegas level just for fun, but we were just trying to kind of connecting those levels, and then you were kind of crafting the logic behind the story around that. But I remember just kind of making cool levels.
I remember that one of the big issues we always had, Ash, was fitting all the textures on, the limit of textures. And I remember, for example, what would you waste a texture on, right? So in the Lost Artifact, for example, we had to set aside some textures for Nessie, right? I don't want to give away the secret, but you remember, Rebecca, those were really different. The other ones. In this one, I remember that we had to do things like when we ended a level that was like this, which was Ice Space, we had to still have some texture space remaining for some Inuit clues. So the idea was that this base was built above an ancient Inuit, and so we researched into the culture and history of that a little bit, and did a bunch of cave paintings and things like that. Probably as ridiculously. Rebecca, what does that say? What does that?
Yeah, what does that say?
I am so embarrassed. I'm taking no responsibility for the Russian letters.
It means danger, actually.
Very good.
Oh, nice job, Rebecca.
Word for it. She did the correct word there. Danger is fine. You actually done better job that Crystal Dynamics did with Tomb Raider Legends, where they set it in Kazakhstan. They hired Russian actors to do the VO, but the words made no sense. It literally was Google translated. I mean, obviously, this is before Google translated this game, and obviously you had to do your research. I would assume otherwise. But yeah, good job on that one. I have some questions about the way you spelled Melnikovs, though. That one is interesting. Kris, this is one of your enemies, is it?
Yes, it is. Yeah, because right before I did this game, I was art directing and designing James Bond Tomorrow Never Dies for the PlayStation. So
yes. So you did some cool games, didn't you, Kris, as well? You didn't like a Diablo as well.
I did Diablo too, yeah, exactly. So after I left that game, I just wasn't keen with working with the people that I was working with. Some of them I just wasn't gelling with, so I'm kind of a guy that's like, I'm not going to waste my time sitting there hammering at something if I'm not having a good time doing it. So when Phil asked me to come up and do this after I'd worked on a film, and so I was, and Phil and I were completely influenced by James Bond for our other game, Blackwater.
So Ash knows about Blackwater. And then
We
we all
published
worked
some
on that.
details about it. If Spitfire, if you're in the chat, please drop a link to my gold editions page on my website. Blackwater information is on it. We published everything.
So,
Blackwater does sound like something from James Bond. I agree. Yeah, sorry, carry on.
Right. So those villains were kind of like, again, we were handicapped because I had to use the textures that were already on the characters, so I can only paint over what was there. I could, go from scratch, but I knew where everything was applied.
Look at that quality design, Chris.
That was awesome. Look at that.
That beautiful
sky
sky
box.
dome texture.
Yeah,
That
that's
beautiful
right.
sky, yes.
Who did that one?
Rebecca.
Ash, I could be wrong in my memory, but I feel like there was 2 places you could drop to after you went on the. I don't think there's a secret involved, but I do remember that you
Let's
could.
find out. We're cheating. We're cheating. That's not how you're supposed to. This is a cheat code that was introduced with this port of the game. You might have noticed in the very beginning of the level there was like fancy loading screen. That was a fan art by Lito Perizito, who does amazing renders. So all that is basically fans are restoring this because it's currently impossible to play this anywhere because Crystal Dynamics don't really give a damn about these add-ons. They're not on Steam or anything. So, but fans love them so much that they port them. They make their own like additions. So like this cheat code that allows you to fly. So all that stuff, fans are doing God's work as always. So let's have a look where I can drop.
Yeah.
No, wait.
Here.
At the end of
the end of it. Yep. You could leave. You could jump off early. I remember. Like
and you got something, or you would go the whole way to the end. Just go on the. Yeah, just go on it, Ash. The
right,
flight.
over here.
Even right at the end, there was 2 little.
you just saw one thing that.
Oop.
Yeah.
There was a health pack back there when you flew over it.
Yeah. I'm still trying to remember where we put the damn Uzis. I know you had to jump over the wall at some point later, and we hid the Uzis there on a kind of impossible area. Yeah.
I love killing these endangered species.
Yeah, that's what Lara does the best.
I agree. Too.
That's
The glass smashing was so good. I love doing that.
The sound is amazing. We were playing this yesterday. It's just such a nice sound, the glass smashing. It's like the best thing ever. Oh,
See,
bird, fuck off.
It's
fine, I can always respawn.
This was a nice one to design because we were trying to do again really big spaces that weren't that familiar, big exterior spaces, and then architecturally I'm trying to stack the design so this is like a hub. You revisit, you come back to the top, and it has logic. There's a bit of logic to it. It's not just long cavernous tunnels or. Right. There are magical keys lying around, but apart from that, The good thing was I watched you play yesterday, Ash, and you didn't use the flares enough. There's some places where I made it deliberately super dark, like the guys on the guys on the gantry at the end of this level were supposed to be like silhouettes.
Okay,
nice catch.
Okay, I triggered NVIDIA's panel even. That's how many buttons I pressed.
I guess the only problem with cheating is you never remember whether you've got all the right keys or.
Right.
Yeah. That's why I try not to do it as much of this playthrough. It's just for me to speed it a bit, so you're not sat here for 5 hours because it will probably take me as much. There's so many enemies in this level, Phil. Why do you hate us so much?
Well, this is Avalanche. They're very dangerous. I always remember we got some really great new toys to play with. The guys that climb up stuff were brand new, and that was the best generator of gameplay ever. I don't think these guys are the climbers, but we have them later on.
The one with the baseball bats, I think they climb.
And then this was all about sniping and whether you made it safe for yourself before you went down there. And then unlike the next level, the snowmobile wasn't really optional here. But if you're also in Lost Artifact, I like the idea that the little what are they called, Rebecca? ATV or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the little razors or whatever.
we made sure that it was kind of optional. Oh yeah, here's a tricky one, Rebecca, and it has an arrow. I thought I was going to lie yesterday and said, well, that shows Lara where to go, but it doesn't really.
No, but this is where I think Rebecca, well, we think anyway, Rebecca took the wording from, because it basically means of yours and save, which on their own may mean nothing, but the poster, which you can see on the top right corner, means make sure to preserve your like weapons or any military equipment, so it doesn't fail in the combat. That's what it means. So
that would have been good, Rebecca, if you'd done that.
Yeah, I did that purposely, you know.
Just forward
I have
thinking.
no idea, you know, what I don't really remember. I vaguely remember looking for Russian words, but I can't believe we would just take something and not even know what it meant.
No.
Didn't we have somebody in the office?
We definitely knew what it meant. We definitely thought we knew what it meant.
Yeah,
How's that?
Yeah.
I think we thought we knew what it meant.
This one is as well. This one means you are for everyone. The one that Rebecca used. So what she cut out is that poster. What we think, it might be wrong, but that poster says when you are when you are like when you are like spying or investigating, make sure to check all the branches. Do not do not sleep in secret. You are responsible for everyone. So this is what you are for everyone. Rebecca basically cut those bits, put them on the textures. We think.
Kris,
anyway.
I feel like I remember, you know, Rebecca would come in of a morning and say, "Oh yes, my Russian, I figured all this out." You know,
With her Russian lover.
yes, her Russian lover. That's right.
The Russian Vivial
No, he was
construction
German.
complete.
Forgot he was German, not Russian.
Oh, he's German. That's right.
Klaus?
Oh, look at the sweet textures
Oh,
they
there
put
we
on
go.
that.
Look
Oh,
at
look,
the
Kris,
real-time
Kris.
Reflections on that glass.
Look at the
That's
reflections.
fans
Did you
added
see that?
No.
Wow.
That's
hold on,
all
look
you.
at the glass on the Skidoo.
Oh yeah.
It's a bit buggy on this particular surface, but like on any other reflective surfaces, you can see it very well. It's
Cool.
very well done.
yeah.
Yeah. I see that.
Huh.
We wanted to do that
Oh.
snowmobile fight too. Remember, Phil? That was a big thing. Wanted to have that
Yeah.
duel.
They should have just let us do what we wanted, right?
They really should have. Like, I can't believe they told you not to do that leopard Lara thingy, because we loved it.
I know. That was just our instinct, wasn't it? And we got carried away, I suppose. The just the notion of bringing all the bosses back for the Three Kings was compelling. A lot of people play this. This is the way to play this.
Yeah.
A lot of people do try to race around with the snowmobiles, but yeah, this is really the only way to do that. And then you get that one.
Everyone is look at the chat, Rebecca. Skybox is beautiful and everything. Like, people
Aw.
love it.
She's such a show-off, isn't she, Kris?
Yeah.
I do remember having that conversation about doing sort of Northern Lights, you know, in the sky.
Yeah.
It was totally Northern Lights. Yeah.
Really
We were
dramatic.
totally doing that.
The funny thing is, Rebecca would come in all this kind of, you know, done this beautiful skybox texture, and Kris and I, the thing we would say to her was, Rebecca, have you done enough rocks?
Arsund, we spoke about Nanook before. It was actually Kris who done the title screen, and we're not particularly certain, but he does look like Nanook. That was answered, sorry. You
Yeah.
probably missed that.
I did that
Arsund is
motorcycle. I
one
did
who
the
actually did
Skidoo
this
too.
mod, just so you all know. Come on, you did the
Whoa.
Skidoo as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. I
You
remember
probably
that.
designed the
SSSR
Avalanche
over
logo.
top is correct, Rebecca, just so you know. The
The what?
Union, USSR on the top, which is that word on the top.
Okay, good.
It says in Russian. It says SSSR, which is Союз Советских Социалистических Республик, which is Union of Soviet Socialistic Republics. So that is correct.
Well, didn't we think we were changing it a little bit?
Oh, the guy just. Oh no, he's back.
Oh, this is a death drop behind you there. I think you did it yesterday, but I seem to remember we put a camera out there as well, so that even if you died, it would be dramatic. Can you save it and like just gun your sonar out there? Oh, where?
Just
there
get
he
rid of
is.
this guy. And
Hey!
it's fine. She's okay. She's alive. She's good. She's fine.
We overdid the. Oh, you probably won't be able to get the snowman. Well,
The what?
you'll have to go back to the other one.
Ah,
Both-
the skidoo.
Both the snowmobiles right there.
Can I? Yeah, I will just. Oh, Scheiße. No, yeah, I need to go and get the other one.
Oh, you're speaking German now.
Yeah.
I don't really. I only speak Russian and English. I can read Greek and I can understand Ukrainian, but I don't speak it. That's just me.
Where
Oh,
are
I
you going? I
left it
just
there.
leave it back there.
Yeah, I forgot I left it there. As you can see, even on this golden Lara model, the reflections are also real time. That's Arsund done some fantastic job here. There we go.
It's so funny because the music and the cameras, we over-egged those totally. We overused them, but we really wanted to be super cinematic. And obviously, big Tomb Raider fans now know where all the music pieces are from, but we didn't have any original music, so we had to.
Oh wow!
Yeah, we had to use.
It's all. I believe all the music you have in here is all Tomb Raider 2.
Yeah.
I
The only
might be
thing.
wrong.
Do you remember the only thing that we had trouble with was when we did this and we wanted to bring a Tomb Raider 1 asset. We wanted the bear and turn him into a polar bear. And they had to go and reprogram that whole thing because they just couldn't get it to work.
I was going to say that. I thought you did that. I thought there was a request for music that they were going to go. We had like a request list of things we wanted. And I believe there was some music that you wanted to use too, and we didn't get it.
Yeah. We were just the poor younger cousin or whatever. They got more and more helpful with us. Gavin Rummery actually was very helpful. A guy called Tom. I've forgotten who Tom was.
Tom Scott.
Yeah, it might have been Tom Scott. And then
He's a programmer, AI programmer for.
And we didn't work as much with Heather and Neil, but I told you last time my favorite guy designer on that team was Richard Morton, and Richard was really helpful.
Oh yes,
And
Richard
I
is
think
amazing.
his brother as well. I think his brother as well.
Jamie Morton. Yeah.
Yeah, we
had
couldn't
Jamie
have done
Morton
it
on
without
the
their
stream.
help, but it was like pulling teeth, because this was, as I said to them last week, Chris, we were like in the back of the office and people just ignored us, which if we thought about it nowadays, we'd think, man, that was luxury, that situation. But I always remember bursting into a room with Rebecca and saying, does anyone want to see this? Does anyone care?
Yeah.
Into a board game meeting, because people just, we did these so quickly as well. I can't remember, was this like 3 months or something?
3 months start to finish. I remember redoing this level 1,000 times. So this is definitely a level that I worked on and touched it with you, Phil, because we were like redesigning these glass, things.
I see.
And I remember us having
surfaces.
such an issue with it, and we were like, we're making it too hard.
You did. You did made it too hard.
But this was this one. But every time the monks or the ghosts appear are my favorite parts. I love the arena in the next level, and I love this part. Really beautiful textures, and we used those transparencies everywhere. And look, the ghost things, you did that, I think, Chris.
That was fun.
Ash does his best to kill them all, but
when I first played this a few days ago, or not a few weeks ago as a test, I just started murdering them, and the chat is like, "What are you doing? They're the monks. They're supposed to help you, like in Tomb Raider 2." I'm like, "Oh shit, I don't know." And I forgot. I did play this like back in 2001 maybe or something, because I first played Tomb Raider in 2000, and then I kind of started playing all of them.
No, you're supposed to run away and hide. That's the optimum trick. And then you miss the battle, right? Which is always worth watching too. The
music is very fitting in here. I don't know if you can hear it, unfortunately, because I think it only works as a webcam.
I know it seems funny not to hear the little ahas and the. It was very great sounds yesterday, Rebecca, when Ash previewed this.
Mm-hmm.
Those monks aren't.
Phil the right scared. He was like, "Oh my god, I was supposed to be live now." I was like, "No, I just like testing." I think I just killed the monk, and they're gonna haunt me forever now. I know. There you go.
I don't think. I think we had a whole set of philosophies, but I never liked this one. You're supposed to be able to see a monk and a guy here, just coming up the side. Oh no, it's a leopard. I changed that. Oh yeah, and you see him coming, which is another one of those foreshadowing tricks that we always like to do. But I think we were always relatively fair. You had to really stage it based on what weapons you thought that the average player would have. So I think, for example, at the start of the next level, you get the Uzis pretty early, but in this level, the philosophy was always put these weapons in a secret place, and if someone could get them, then great. Yeah, we like Golden Mask better than TR2 for sure.
I like
Chris?
Golden Mask more than Tomb Raider 2. I will tell you more, and I'll tell you this for free. I like Tomb Raider 3, the Lost Artifact board, and I like Tomb Raider 3. Tomb Raider 3 can fuck off, seriously, the worst game ever. I'm sorry if anyone likes it, I just can't fucking stand it.
We were proud of all these because it was a fantastic opportunity. We would have had Kris back for the third one if he'd wanted us, but he was going off to fame and glory somewhere, right, Kris?
I left. I remember when it was done, I literally got my car and moved to Los Angeles
That's
after.
Right. Yeah, that was why I was in such a tiz when I got to E3. We were showing it off and releasing it, and they sent me back. I was there for a day, and they sent me back to fix it.
Right.
So, as they said, fix it. I was shocked because nowadays people have got little bit of a different attitude to it, but I guess they were very, very protective. Same story with the manga. Same story with all the content, Kris, because Kris and I did the Doug Copeland book as well, and Rebecca, I'm sure you did too. I don't remember, but I remember, that it was really hard to convince them that the artwork was appropriate. Or there's the Uzis was on one of those ledges off there somewhere, and I cannot remember where. Oh, it's here. I think you're in the right place.
Yeah, I can see them below. I just need to figure out how do I get down there.
Queue another 10 minutes.
Wow.
You have to be it's another of my tricks where you have to be half health to do it. So a lot of experts.
You're doing the
same with the
sin of
Avalanche.
core design. Core design does that a lot, and that's messes up a lot of people these days because there's plenty of people who do speed runs.
Yeah.
Where they do them with no loads and no meds. And if you have half of health, you cannot make this jump. So for them to collect all the secrets, it's like an absolute nightmare to Raider 2 particularly. Right, this is where you can get out. You should watch some of the people when they do that.
Did you have the Uzis already, or did you actually pick them up there?
No, I didn't. I don't think I did. Oh no, I got all the weapons because I flew, and when you fly, you get all the weapons.
Yeah. Is that's one of the hardest things about designing it, because you had so many. I said this last week, but you have so few things to offer the player, right? The guns being one of them, the big medipacks being another. But we that's why we ended up, funny enough, that kind of philosophy ended us saying, let's do whole areas. Let's give them entirely secret areas to play with. And I think, Rebecca, that's how that came about for Lost Artifact.
Oh yeah, that's why I fucking love it so much. The secrets in Tomb Raider 3 in particular are quite, well, they just give you like weapons or whatever. But in Tomb Raider 3 The Lost Artifact is just brilliantly done. That's why I probably love it so much, The Lost Artifact. The secrets, the story in it is great. The variety of levels is fantastic as well. Tomb Raider 3 The Lost Artifact is one of my top Tomb Raider games.
It gets your brain going. I mean, we felt, obviously it's the law of diminishing returns. The sales for the gold series, accordingly they kind of matched the sales for the real series, but obviously we weren't going to sell as many units as Tomb 1 Gold, and we sold a lot.
We did it pretty good on this one, I remember.
But Lost Artifact, I don't know why they decided never to do Tomb Raider 4 Gold, but we were on it, right, Rebecca? We had so much of it designed, and we were so excited by it that, as you can see from the stuff that you got from my website, Ash, or the stuff I sent you, it would have been really great. We had so much good stuff in there that.
Yep.
I got an interesting question here regarding the Golden Mask. What was the inspiration? Why does it resurrect dead? Oh, fuck me backwards.
Do it.
There you go. Got it.
I'm sure it was based on something, some legend. I can't remember the process, Kris, how it ended up with it being that artifact, but
I mean the mask itself?
Yeah, and what it represented, and I'm pretty sure we knew, we researched our Inuit legends, but yeah.
I mean, the mask itself, I made up off of that. There was an image we got from a museum, and then I modified an old, face shield or something, and turned it into the bent and kind of deteriorated mask. But didn't we have gold in here when you found gold bars?
Yes, those are secrets, I believe.
Yeah. I remember being frustrated at the end here with the we wanted to do, it was a mine, right, Kris? It was supposed to be the mining operation at the top of the mountain, and we didn't have any props. We could only do what I could make, or what we could make, like the giant cat statue and like the gold. I think there's a giant gold statue in level 3 in this one as well.
I just love the guys were in the darkness and they'd shoot their guns and then you'd see them.
Yeah, that's what we tried to do here. I mean, obviously people tend not to use their flares, but when you get to the end gantry, the whole idea was they'd be silhouetted, kind of nice.
This construction here, Kris, is very well done in terms of the. It reminds me of like mines or like old mills for like Soviet mills, because I've been in a few. Since I kind of grew up in Turkmenistan, which used to be part of the Soviet Union, we still have some of the old buildings. So this is like pretty much spot on in the way how it would probably look.
This was a very cool level.
Oh, Kris, Phil, some of the fans, you released some documents on Tomb Raider 4 Gold that never happened. Some of the fans already created a level based on one of your documents.
Oh, we'll have to see.
Yeah, we could possibly have a look after Tomb Raider 3 Gold. We could look at the inspired levels.
Yeah. I'll
if you guys
evaluate.
Interested.
I'll evaluate.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. That would be great.
No, we made a lot of giant lists, didn't we, Rebecca? And we had so many good ideas for our secret. Like we were going to have Pitcairn Island. There was a whole thing going on. We had the sunken We had New Orleans, of course.
Oh yeah, New Orleans, yeah.
And we had the sunken pirate town. Somebody asked about Dr. Yaya. Funny enough, Dr. Yaya was supposed to be an Ararak. I think there was the two tribes, the Carib and the Ararak. He was supposed to be one of those who had discovered the Fountain of Youth. I used him in many games after that. In Everything or Nothing, he became Dr. Yayakov. Same art, practically.
Phil, just for your information, Yaya means balls in Serbian. Dr. Balls.
So look, Ash, do you see this level where you're at here?
Yes.
Oh, there's the poster you got. This is my backyard, complete with well. You're standing looking straight at the back of my house, and then to the right was the rest of the building, or ahead was my studio. When I came to do this one, and of course Rebecca and Kris know I spent a huge amount of my time at home just doing this, just building stuff, and I was completely out of ideas how to start this one, and so rather than being stuck, just started building what I was looking at out my window, in rough proportion, and that's how it emerged. Do you remember the fire guys? Oh, there's a good Stalin up there. There's Melnikov. That's supposed to say yes. Melnikov,
but it doesn't. It actually says
what?
Meg. Yeah, the third letter doesn't exist in Russian alphabet. There is G, but it's another way around. So if you flip it, that's G. So it will be Megnikov.
Rebecca? I only asked for Melnikov.
Kind of works. It's better than Borat. When Borat's poster says it just makes no sense in Russian language at all.
But Ash,
this poster here.
Yeah, that's it.
Sorry, what you're saying?
I was going to say that at the time, our expertise in Russian was exactly this.
You needed to invite me.
when you go to Moscow, it's like the same in Japan. You cannot understand anything. You can't understand the writing. But the key to it was to know that Pektopa was restaurant, and that was the entirety of my Russian knowledge, was that anytime I could translate any of the letters that were in Pektopa in restaurant. And so that was the philosophy we used here.
Yeah, it's completely different alphabet. It's very difficult.
This is a tough little room, this one, actually. But again, it's like multi-level. You can go inside, you can go outside, you can crash through the windows. I just can't get over how good the textures are. I mean, everywhere, the incidental textures. You know what would be an interesting challenge, Ash? Is to find all the textures in the Gold games that were only used once.
Oh, there's that guy.
Is that yours, Kris?
Yes. Any character I redid the textures.
I'm gonna burn.
Burning.
It's alright. Water.
Well, that's why it was there.
That's why it's there, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm alive. I'm not gonna die, everyone. I cheat. It's fine.
Oh. He almost looked like he was clever there because he was heading somewhere, but I always like it when they do that. Not just, there's a couple of them that always just kind of run around in circles, but...
Oh, Arsland is just telling me that he made the masks reflective. The flamethrower mask. I don't know if you can actually see it very well.
I don't think you can get too close to them when they're alive.
Yeah, but actually, you can just about see there's some reflection there.
See the A branding on there?
Reflected.
No, it looks really good.
Avalanche.
Yeah, the Avalanche branding on it. Yeah.
The textures look fantastic. I mean, this update of it definitely looks very slick. I just can't get over
because this was PC exclusive. Fans ported it for PlayStation 1 recently as well.
Really?
And all these effects, like reflections and stuff, were borrowed from PlayStation 1 Tomb Raider 2 version, which has reflections, but PC version, for some reason, didn't. Okay, let's skip this a bit.
It's a boring bit, huh?
Yeah. It's gonna be here a while otherwise. Is that that's new as well, isn't he? This guy.
Yeah, there's no we did not use, unless it's something that got dropped in by something else. Every texture we tweaked. The only ones we didn't tweak were her.
Yeah.
So I had versions of her with this jacket on, with her, cleavage sticking out.
Tits. Yes, that's how Lara.
As you can see it in the Peggy Bundy and the
the extra pixel.
Yeah, the extra pixels.
Well, I still can't get over, Chris, how Adrian Smith just took one look at it and said, "You've added a pixel to her cleavage." How he knew that was amazed me.
I don't think he knew, I think he just didn't like the outfit and just came up with some shabby excuse for it, because we actually love it. We don't see that extra pixel, but whatever he says, I suppose. We love that tiger outfit. The best thing ever. Should have kept it.
She has a little slippers on, a little house shoes.
Yeah, she looks like she's from Liverpool. Seriously, like that's how girls in Liverpool even now are going out. It's stuck in the 80s, so
I need to go to Liverpool.
You should go. Seriously, it's a hilarious place. Don't advise to be there for long periods, but I lived there for 5 years of my life. 5 years I will never get back. But yeah, that's what people wear. They also wear rollers when they go shopping, which is quite unusual. The hair rollers thingy in the hair. I know Rebecca's having a cultural shock now.
Do you remember the time we spent, Rebecca, trying to make the moving block textures look the same as the regular textures so we could hide them better? But they always have different lighting on them.
Yes.
But I can't get over how good this looks. It's really gnarly and gritty and textured and
Thanks for the backseating guys in the chat. Appreciate that.
The other thing you find with the expert players is they tend to, because they're playing through so fast, they tend to miss all the camera stuff. And we would have these long, lingering camera shots, but if you're pressing the keys, I think that just overrides them, right?
They do. The look button in particular overrides all the camera shots. Or if you have guns out, that tends to override stuff. What did I miss? I missed something.
I have no idea.
Didn't you design this? Now, that word on the boxes over there, I have no clue what it means.
What does that mean, Rebecca?
Where? I don't even see a word.
Yes,
I see.
It's like fammy or something.
Well, I would say it means grupa, but the last letter is not A, it's U, which makes no sense. So yeah, it's interesting. That's the one I got really confused when I was playing it as a child. I was like, that's not.
I love how he says he was playing it as a child.
There's a switch.
I was like 12. I was 12.
Was that the switch you missed?
No, I think it's timed or something.
There's a switch you missed to get you to it opens a grate that takes you to the big outside area.
Let's just fly over. There's
near where all the big pipes are, there was something.
Right. I did open that one, but I don't know which door it was. I need to find it. That one is locked. There it is. There it is. Yeah.
I really enjoyed doing this one, and then I remember us thinking about how to use the snowmobile here, and it's very funky. You didn't have to necessarily drive it all up around the roofs and stuff, but it certainly felt dangerous, you know.
Yeah.
When you managed to get it up and make all the jumps, and you could just circle that arena constantly.
Ooh, look at
The
that funnel over
sniper
there.
here and all sorts of stuff.
Look what the Highlight Cowboy just said. Highland Cowboy. Tomb Raider 2 The Golden Mask is my favorite Tomb Raider game ever. This stream is truly awesome. See guys, I love you.
Wow.
Oh yeah, what's that? What's that say, Rebecca?
I have no clue.
Look out!
Actually, no, I can't.
Swearhead.
There is one word which means party, which I assume is party, which is like communist party, and the rest roses, which means searching, like as in like police search. And the last one I don't. Russians in the chat, help me out. I lived in UK for 10 years. I do not speak Russian anymore.
Did you fake us out here, Rebecca?
I guess so.
Comrade
Oh,
Rebecca.
This one is good as well because you really get a reward of the sky when you actually get up high enough to see it properly. Because at the minute it just looks kind of okay, but yeah.
This is was this a photo of something? It looks like scan or a photo. Because Core Design used to do that a lot with their textures. They would just use books and scan in and take pictures of stuff. That's what people think. Roger Party Communism.
Yeah.
Let's have a look again what the word says, because I think we just discovered what it actually says. Roger Party Communism. Well, it does look like it, which means Homeland Party Communism, which does sound similar.
Would be right,
to what
yeah.
Soviets would say.
Maybe it said,
Rebecca's doodles.
I think maybe it was prescient and it says at Tomb of Ash.
Tomb of Ash did not exist at the time. I only started my website like
but we knew.
But you knew, of course, you used Golden Mask to predict the future.
Happening. We weren't too sure if it was a little Wiccan or...
Yeah.
What you said, sorry?
I'm just saying, Rebecca, you know, she could foresee the future all the time, so...
Yeah.
Using Golden Mask.
We knew we'd be here. It's very...
yeah, that's right.
Serendipitous.
Yeah, I just can't believe that we would have just put letters together, or I would have just put letters together that didn't mean anything.
Absolutely not. You
had to have taken words from stuff.
Yeah.
You'd put words together, not letters, so that's better. You know, it's not just letters, it's actual words.
Camera angle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I like
Look at
that.
You probably saw the guys walking on the rooftops at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I hadn't killed them all already.
Yeah. Stress you out and see all those guys.
I think they respawn later on. There's like shitloads of them after you pick up something. I remember that much.
I can't even remember where we stashed the snowmobile.
It's in the guy on snowmobile appears over there later on, so we'll get there in a moment. There we go. I think he just
rail tracks are cool.
There we go.
This was a hard little bit. People didn't like this little corridor. I seem to remember it was really tough. But also the room with the firing snowmobile in it, people had trouble with too, I remember.
Was there any particular reason why the Medipacks have green symbol on them? Because in base game they're actually red. Or was it just...
I don't know, maybe
random?
Were they like that?
I thought we couldn't use the red one because it was like the Red Cross symbol. Yep. Wasn't there some issue about that?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
I do. Yep.
Oh, that makes sense.
There was word of it, so we just said, screw it, let's just make it green. We didn't care. There was some kind of something happening that potentially was going to backfire. So we didn't do it.
Oh, that makes sense. People, because in the later games they all changed them to green as well. So yeah, that's yeah. Oh, that's interesting. I would never have guessed that. There we go. There, that guy.
Oh, brother.
No. Leave me alone. I'm a good Catholic girl. Don't touch me.
That was a tough bit without the...
but you would have heard it, right? So
Yeah, you hear it.
oh,
Killed me twice now.
how do you get up there?
There's a
Must be a
slope.
ramp. Oh,
Yeah, the ramp. Slopey ramp thingy. Come on. Oh, bloody hell.
Yeah, we can't hear it.
This wasn't tough. It's easy. Look how many health packs there are.
Yeah.
All part of the plan.
There you go. Dead now.
It's funny,
Yeah,
Chris,
that-
isn't it? It's amazing looking back at this and thinking how much we did in such a short period of time. If making games was always this easy, do you know what I mean? In terms of, wow, you could just churn them out.
Oh, well, that's what we said.
But, you know,
Remember, we were
you
kind of
three.
proving to
Sorry, Chris, I interrupted you. Carry on. Sorry
we
about
were
that.
we were kind of proving to people that we can, if with being left alone, you know, where we were not insulting the franchise and we're fans of the franchise, that we would do something cool and we could do it quick, and we didn't have to do a lot of wasted time. Everything we knew we were doing was going to be of quality, whether or not it was good. It was going to be quality. So, and we replayed these levels a billion times. We'd get in the morning and play something that either Phil tweaked that night or I stayed up and tweaked something, and we would just sit there and hammer at it. And so nothing was kind of, even though it was only done in 3 months, nothing was kind of just tossed out. We worked and worked and worked and tried to make it as cool as it could be.
Do you remember, Chris, if it ever kind of blew up on us, the tools? Did we ever make it so that it wouldn't run? Like we had to. I don't ever remember having to pare something down necessarily, but
yeah, we did. When that was one of the things about that Sky Dome. I remember trying to stretch the Sky Dome textures to the outside of the lip of the environment, and for some reason there was crash bugs happening all the time. So that's why we have that black rim. And this is right here, you don't see it because you brought the mountains all the way up. But in the earlier level, when you saw just the
We can have a look.
the northern lights, we couldn't see that.
Yeah.
So you see how it's got that
Well, we
mountain.
figured out how to blend it
Yeah, so
in with the.
We were crashing stuff. I remember us crashing stuff because you would build stuff, Phil. That was massive.
yeah,
It
this
just
was a huge area.
Yeah, this was fun. I was trying to do
Maybe
guys
if
that were
you
kind of
three-
similar.
Sorry, Chris. Carry on.
The guy in the textures, I was also trying to do things that were, you know, Metal Gear Solid was finally coming to the United States. It came a year before, I think in '98.
Yeah.
So, you know, trying to kind of flavor the enemies that felt very Metal Gearish too.
They totally do, yeah.
Maybe you
Oh.
three. Oh, excuse me.
Well, that guy's got a cool face.
I'm
I remember
flying
that guy.
here. Maybe you
should- we-
three will be interested to, you know, get some fan tools and create a couple of them. 'Cause
You know, yeah.
because, you know, fans have made some really good editors that are much easier and much more stable to than what you had from core design in the past.
Well, I still teach about the engine because for me, it's such a perfect modular system that, you know, you're designing the whole thing around the proportional line. And it was very hard as a designer to make a mess of a level, to fail it, but also it informs the gameplay. It's very hard to feel stupid when you're playing, and there's so many things in it that make you feel clever, because you know you can make jumps, you know you can reach things. I always remember, I love Uncharted, but I always remember playing the first one, and you got to those points where because the Uncanny Valley, it's so much more realistic, you couldn't figure out where to go.
Yeah.
And
Thank
you
you
might
for
spend
organising
an
another
hour
awesome
trying to
guest
make a
stream, and
jump
big
that in
kudos
fact
to
you're
the
not
awesome
supposed to
gold
make.
team.
You never could. Whereas in Lara, you always knew if you could make a jumper. And that just gave you a nice feeling of confidence.
It was just the level design, you know? I mean, back then, everything was about level design. And we filled in the blanks with texture to make it look good.
Oh, look, yeah, it's more right.
No. I'm okay.
Oh, yeah, all like the barrel.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the guy shooting that out from in there, yeah. It's all planned.
Did we redo the flamethrower? I remember us doing the flamethrower. It looks better to me. I don't know. Maybe it's just me looking at it on this thing.
I think we
The
can't
actual
hear you
flame.
very well, Chris. Let me just-
I think the actual flames of the
There you go.
flamethrower, I wondered if we redid it. I think we did. Again,
They
we
do
tried
look
to make every
different.
single thing unique.
Yeah.
They do
Even
look
her
quite
eye-
different to the original. Gold games truly felt inventive and out of the box. Level and text design is just so atmospheric, and while these games are very playable still to this day. That's Retro Gamer. John says, Taranita says, kudos to the Tomb Raider 2, awesome Tomb Raider 2 Gold team. So, see, people love you. People love you. I wish I'd done this
They're trying
stream
to get
earlier
us-
with you because
they're
I've
trying to
done.
Yeah.
Sorry, carry on, Phil.
No, they're trying to get us to do the fan
Levels.
editor.
Yeah, the buttering us up.
Maybe
Well,
we'll see how
it's
Tomb Raider 4
you
Gold
are
looks.
Sun curious, as I was saying on the first stream. We did streams with core design, pretty much all of them. Well, not except for Tomb Raider 1 and 2. I've done pretty much all the rest of the games. And then I was like, oh, I need to do golden packs at some point as well. And then I kind of forgot until Nina, I don't know if she's in the chat, she was like, oh, Golden Mask, she said something about developers, like, shit, I actually wanted to do that. So I paused my stream and I messaged you on LinkedIn. I was like, hi, can we do this? Hi, I'm this weird person. I would like to have a stream, please.
This is where we had those issues with what textures to use, and I think changing the mood and the atmosphere during a level is really hard to do because it uses up a lot of space, doesn't it, Rebecca?
Yeah.
I wonder how many hit the cutting room floor. I'd completely forgotten about this area too. This leads to the cave, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we couldn't transition the colors because then we'd have to save those texture blocks just for the transition point at the end, which was a challenge because then also we're in a different tone when we get there, and we want. I remember that wanting to kind of utilize that beforehand and kind of give that we're moving over into another level, but
and no cutscene or any other form of connection.
With the third game, which we'll get to when we play it more, so we'll have way more information then. But with the third game, the Tomb Raider 3 Gold, you utilized the loading screen, didn't you, to tell the story?
Yeah, and that came out of Kris doing the screen for this one. I mean, if we'd thought about it then, we would have done it. That texture up there looks really good, and I don't even remember it, Rebecca. The one up there, the icy one.
Yeah.
Wasn't that from the other? The ones from the other level with all the eyes?
They are from the other level. That's the only transition that we're actually kind of do.
Oh yeah, look at this bit. God, I've forgotten about this. And then you go down and you see some. Are you able to go down? Yeah, and then you see some of the cave. That's
cave
it.
art,
There's some of the cave paintings.
Those were very good.
Yeah.
I bet you Rebecca slipped in Lara in those ones as well. Oh, there, Kris, look.
Yeah.
The face. Remember that was the inspiration then for the next level.
The thing with the cave art and stuff like that, if we go into the Soviet installations, that is so very Soviet to build a massive installation on top of some archaeological dig site and then reuse it. So that was very, very spot on. Even today, they still kind of discover all these crazy cool pagan places that they didn't really care about. So this is pretty much spot on. Not sure if it was deliberate or not, but it was spot on.
Yeah, those are good.
There's artworks.
Yeah, those are cool.
After being told off by Core, we weren't stretching quite as much as we used to, right? Because if you remember the stretching, you had to worry about how much you elongated each block. It was all a product of the actual environment. Sometimes you couldn't help it.
Yeah.
I don't know if Kris managed to catch that loading screen with the artwork of his level that we're just playing now. Did you see that, Kris?
Yeah, totally. That was
Yeah.
cool.
I don't know if Lito is watching. It's actually his birthday today. He turned 25. The guy who
happy
done all these
birthday.
artworks. So happy birthday, Lito! When you'll be watching it later, hopefully.
Oh, I love that
So there's
texture. I
more
always-
artwork. Yeah.
And then this next, there's one there yet. I
There's
can't
Golden
remember,
Mask.
but it's dealing
the
with the
mask.
golden mask, right?
Yeah.
There's a pretty
There's the
obvious
mask.
breakable floor. The amount of times, Rebecca, you and I said, Kris, for God's sake, get on with your work.
You mean get off the phone? Get off
Yeah.
the phone and get on with your.
You were such a youngster. That was the thing, you see, compared to us. We were like old. Now he's old. Wow.
I know I'm old, yeah.
Kris,
I'd
I'm
like
going
to
to...
do that
You're
one
only
again.
as old as you feel, you know. As
You're-
I say.
you're gonna have
I
to
always
do
say,
all-
oh, sorry, I pressed the Windows button.
Uh,
Gonna wait for a sec for it to catch up. This is the artwork I was telling you about, the Leopard Lara by El Perez
so cool.
Diablo. When we released the level that was anonymously sent to us, he's like, I can't believe I actually done this and you're
look
releasing
there.
it.
there are the textures up there. Wow.
Yeah,
I
got
just
the
don't-
textures
I
too.
can't remember how I managed to find all the color ones again, Rebecca. I suppose.
Yeah. I don't know.
Kris, you're going to have to talk through this one and Rebecca's wonderful textures because I'm going to have a very quick smoke.
You need to quit,
like
Phil.
I
for
thought
your
you
own health.
quit, Phil.
Yeah.
Give
This is
him
all
hell.
flashbacks to me. I'm trying to even remember. I mean, how that's
Well, you
sliding
remember
block.
the room with the giant columns and the
Yes, of
where
course.
that
Yeah.
worked. That's the annoying thing, right? You couldn't match the sort of lighting or the texture on the blocks.
Yeah.
Look
Right.
at that. Look at that tree
Oh.
over there.
Here we come.
This had a whole legend to it too, and I've completely forgotten, Kris. I'm sorry to the viewers that we don't remember everything, but there is a mask in here, right, on the pedestal, and then
Yep.
Yeah.
If you go back, actually, I think when you go back to the entrance, there's a huge camera pull out.
oh yeah, he skipped. I saw that one. In his keenness to get into that room, Ash missed that one. Do they always
Oh,
trigger?
yeah.
Hmm. I saw a little
You
bit
know
of
what?
it.
I
at the
can
start.
restart the level. Let's restart
no!
it and let's. What?
All right.
It's all right. It's okay. We can restart it. It's fine. Furnace of the Gods.
I gotta say, when I saw that opening screen, I got so excited when we did it because it didn't occur to us that we should do them between the levels as well. And in fact, it probably would have been easy just to keep inserting loading screens. We could have told our stories better.
Yeah. And I love that slide down. It was so nerve wracking because you always think like, oh my God, am I going to fall and die at the end of that slide? But we were
Right.
just driving people down.
And you wondered what you discovered. That was the whole idea, was that it's supposed to be playing in your head. You don't need narrative. You don't need text. You don't need cutscenes. It should be playing in your head. Look at those really annoying little
Rats. 17 polygon rats.
I know, look at them. They're awesome. And as I said to them last week,
There
it is.
yeah,
Ah.
that looks so good.
Save.
Yeah, as I said to them last week, I mean, we
Racist.
couldn't have done anything without the amazing engineering and just setup of this damn game. But you know, if you treat the levels with love and respect and make them a feast to the eyes, you know, it's like that's the best thing we could do.
Well, look at the transitions we had between the
Oh, I
columns.
love this bit. Yeah,
Oh, these are awesome. Yeah.
yeah. Don't touch that map.
You
Don't touch
take
that
it or
map.
not take it. Yeah. Take
You're
it or
not
don't
gonna
take it.
It's a shame we didn't get to see the shotgun room last week because that was playing those same kind of tricks, right? You're looking at it and you're wondering, you know, shit's going to kick off, right? Except these guys were your friends earlier.
After you kill them, take a look at the walls. I want to look at the walls again. The outside
Do you
of
need to
cavern
kill them
walls.
because they just run
I don't
around?
think so. No, they're all goodies, yeah.
Yeah, if you don't touch them, if you don't attack them, they leave you alone.
Yeah.
Right. I like this floor texture in this. Very pretty.
I'm dizzy.
I mean, look, this again is another way in which texturing you can. This is an absolutely enormous room, but it doesn't, it doesn't feel forced or empty because it's monumental. I mean, those faces are giant. Look how good the textures look. Well, that's because of the updating, right? Or
no, I think that, they use the same textures. They probably just added a bit more sharpening. I don't know. Arsund will clarify that. But I don't think there is too much difference in terms of texture work. What he did, he definitely added like reflections and missing effects and things like that, and loading screens, obviously. But in texture works, I think there was very minimal work involved in that. There is a project now to upscale the textures using AI and stuff like that for various games. So maybe at some point there will be one. But no, that's actually your
Easter egg on that
work.
wall.
Oh.
I had an Easter egg on that wall, I believe.
oh, let's have a look.
On this wall?
No, all the way, literally back in that room, in the main room where you picked up the mask
Let
on
me
the
go
out
back.
one
Let
of
me
those,
go back.
those big walls. I thought I put something on it.
Let's fly out. This room here.
Yeah, the one with the pillars. Yeah. So go up to one of the walls. I don't know which one it was. I think it was when you walked in, it was to the left. So.
Oh, obviously you could get up.
Right there. Yeah, turn around, back to that wall.
This wall.
No, literally go to her left, and then go straight to the edge of the room against the big wall. Now go left right there.
Okay, left.
Right. Yep. Now go to the wall. Turn right. Now back up. That right there.
Right.
Okay, so right there, is that? Yeah, there's a big J on the wall.
What? You never told us that. I wonder what that stood for, huh?
What is it? Where? I don't see it.
Oh, yeah, go forward.
I see it now. I see it now.
Yeah, there's a big J
What's
right there.
J supposed to be for?
I'm not gonna say. And to the left of it, I think right there's a heart.
No.
There's a heart on the wall. Yeah, there's a heart.
There is. Never seen it.
After 25 years or whatever, I never ever noticed that.
That's awesome. When you like joints and stuff.
If we would have known that, Rebecca, would we have let him do it?
Never. No.
Never.
It was so well hidden. I wonder how many people ever saw it.
Yeah, nobody. Obviously,
probably nobody.
People asking who is Jay? I think it's what is Jay.
Our lips are sealed.
Rats.
No, it was a who. That's the
Who was Jay?
question.
It was a who.
Jesus, yes. Kris loves Jesus, yes.
Had to guess.
Kris is also a good Catholic girl like myself. Right, okay, let's get out of here. Lots of rats. I like them rats in this room.
Oh yeah, the rat.
Yeah.
She's alright, she's okay. She can make it anyway. Okay, there you go.
Oh, this is the bear in this. He looks so clunky, but we fought so long to get him that felt we had to put him in.
Now the chat, I don't know if this is correct or not. The chat will help me if not. This ladder is yours, isn't it? The texture work on this. Because I can't remember it in Tomb Raider 2. I haven't played it well, I don't like Tomb Raider 2, so I don't really pay attention much to it. But I think this is your work, because it looks very different to the art style of Tomb Raider 2. I love it, but it's different.
Yeah, it's
I don't
definitely
know.
Rebecca. It's
must be,
definitely your work because you didn't leave anything. We weren't leaving anything. Everything we were trying to retouch
Okay.
and make it unique.
It actually matched up with her feet very well, didn't it?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
Which was done painstakingly. I
Blimey.
remember.
might be repainted from Tibet levels, but it looks similar to Temple. So it's either brand new or it's repainted. So it is definitely different.
Look, now the lighting on those blocks is pretty damn good.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
are cool.
Well, apart from that, yeah.
Yeah, if
Front
you
on.
use the flare, if you remove the flare, it looks okay, better. Those faces, love it. No, leave me alone. I feel like Indiana Jones. I'm all right. I'm okay. I'm good.
I don't think we did. I don't think we could change the textures on those balls, could we? Or
Probably not.
Yeah.
Because they're animated.
Did we do these sparkly textures?
you did all these textures,
Yeah.
Rebecca.
I mean, I don't remember.
You were
But
probably
maybe you guys, Ash, maybe your guys enhanced the way these sparkle because I don't remember it being.
I don't think they were enhanced. I pretty much remember them being like this.
You were probably on
Okay.
drugs at the time, Rebecca, and like,
To be honest, most of the Red developers were at the time. They were everyone was very young, and it was look at that.
that's a pretty texture too.
That's a cool one.
It's
There's a
definitely
question
interesting.
for you all three. Sorry, Phil. How did
Yeah.
you, Phil, Kris, Rebecca, first decide that game development was something that you were interested in?
There was no game development when we got interested in it. That was the thing.
I know. This was some of the first like 3D, and we were. Do you remember? I came on board. I got headhunted out of architecture because at the time in like 96, 97, everybody wanted architects, right? Because they knew they were going to be building 3D worlds. And then, do you remember the first project I did when I came in? Rebecca was already in the industry. Was Infinexus with Dave Georgeson.
Yeah, that's what we were on. That's what we were
and
all
that-
hired on. Yeah.
And I came into it because of the artwork. I had a degree in illustration, and it was a good way to get to use my degree without having to be a freelance artist, which I could never have done.
And I was.
So I'm sorry, I
drawing-
cut you off, Phil.
No, yeah,
No.
Phil, that's all that stuff is right. I mean, they wanted to do. There was nobody that was training anybody. So having an art degree like Rebecca had, or being able to draw or illustrate,
Yeah.
they just figured we'd be able to pick up the tools. I drew comic books for Marvel and DC before I got there, and I put an interview in. I put my resume into two places, Shiny and Domark, which is what IDOS was before
Yeah.
they merged, right? So, I got offers from both, and I moved to San Francisco literally like 45 days later. So, and I had computer experience from high school and stuff. I had a little Apple IIc, but I mean, come on. I never touched Photoshop until I met Rebecca.
Yeah, and I barely
Wow.
started using it.
Wow.
And all the
And-
tools
and-
that we
So
were using
amazing.
were proprietary,
Yeah.
remember?
And you know what? People don't realize when back in those days, Photoshop was not what it is
Awful.
now.
Oh, yeah.
When you had to, we didn't have layers in Photoshop, if that tells you anything.
Yeah, I remember the 5th version of it was quite bad, but I can imagine the earlier version than that is pretty much horrendous. There's the Golden Shower by Phil. Kris, sorry.
Those are, I believe, are my animated textures on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you and I split this one, Phil, building this one. It was like I would come in late, you would go home, and then we'd kind of keep on tag teaming this level, I remember.
Yeah.
But because of the
Beautiful.
yeah, it's cool.
Raw. But it was hard, this bit.
Yeah, I'll be here hours. I remember first time I played this, so I'm gonna slightly skip this.
Yeah.
It's very tricky. Question for Rebecca. How much did working on this game influence your work as an artist in future games?
Oh, that's a hard one to answer because requirements and what you could actually do changed so much over the years, as you know, if your career spanned 20 years like mine did in the industry. I mean, we could do so much more later on, and not necessarily when I was on a 3D chat world. And then we were back to the old days where you could hardly use any texture space, just like in the early days of Tomb Raider. So it was always changing. So I would say what really influenced me was just the limitations of the game itself. You'd always try to push the limits and do the best that you could for what you could work
The
with.
reflections on that's cool.
Yeah,
Very
those are real time as well. If I make Lara very close, you could see that she's reflected in there too. Very cool.
Wow.
Like in the base game, in the actual game, a retail copy of this, they're not present. See, you can see Lara in there. But
You were so mesmerized.
for us.
You were so mesmerized
Yeah.
there, Ash, that you died about 100 times.
And the reason why I'm mesmerized, because I remember playing this, the retail version of this, and I now played it on PlayStation. I always was a PC person, and we didn't have reflections on these games. So for me, like like now and then when I play classic games, I feel like, oh, because all the fans patch them together. I'm just gonna skip this a little bit. Yeah, it's just very, very mesmerizing. Oh, there's a bear artwork over there.
The bear is up here somewhere, and there's that little warning. The warning of the bear. We were telling stories. The bear
There's,
falling into.
sacrificing.
Yeah, they're carrying the bear and throwing him in the pit.
Yeah, and then the bear was a bit of a disappointment. Really, he should have been like 3 times the size. If we could have made him into a big bad, that would have been so good, because he was so dramatic in Tomb Raider 1. I mean, you'd been fighting a lot of wolves, and then to have that bear appear was like pretty amazing.
R.I.P. Bear, you with the angles now. Oh, that fish! I hate these fish so much in Tomb Raider 2. The worst thing, just appear out of nowhere.
Barracuda.
Yeah, if you don't pick up the harpoons in the very first... Oh, you killed him. Look, he's so bad, though.
Yeah.
I mean, he was really blocky, but
Look at
we had
that
to have him.
skeleton. Skeleton's just as bad.
Yeah.
That's from Tomb Raider 2, I believe.
Hungry bear.
But Rebecca, I think you kind of nailed it. The limitations, well, let's face it, art is all about limitations, right? The medium, the paint on the canvas, or building a building, and the structure of metal against wood, and all those limitations make you be creative and doing something cooler. So yeah, we pushed a lot of stuff, but nowadays it's like you have to make everything photoreal. You're shooting textures, you're taking pictures, you're scanning stuff. It's
I don't think you can be as creative. It's funny because I think it's certainly for me, and I don't know if everyone else feels the same way, but we didn't know at the time how good we had it, right? We were working on the most famous game in the world. We were getting royalties, none of which I ever got again. And
Some people are getting royalties.
yeah. I never got a royalty. I never got even a royalty of the Diablo.
We never even got the mask, Phil.
Yeah, I never got the mask.
Yeah.
Talk about royalty.
you must have gone to LA far too quickly. But I mean, the funny thing is that I always remember when we went down to E3 the very first time that Lara made her debut, and a guy called Colin Boswell his job was to show off. I think they had her on like 1 or 2 screens, and like Thor was on like 100 screens. And I remember we were all down there. Nobody was looking at Thor or anything else. And we came upon Boz. He was a big fella, and he was sweating profusely, and he was surrounded by hundreds of people who were watching. I always remember Lara swimming, and no one had seen anything like it before. It was magical. I don't even know if you even remember, Kris, the very first time they gave us the tools and they said, well, you're going to use these for Blackwater. And I started building with them. That's how I learned to use it.
Yeah,
and
we
we
had
built
no-
we built an underground waterfall, and then they came and pinched everything.
Yeah.
Pretty
Right. Well,
That's
remember
all our
when we
idea.
were when you were going for when we were designing Blackwater, before we were doing Legion, remember? And
Yeah.
the Legion kind of saved our hides because they were about to boot us from Infinexus. So, and then Legion, eventually they canned that because they wouldn't make the deal with Mel and myself and that guy, what's his name, Lou? The engineer that we brought in from like Korea or something that Mel knew.
Oh.
So,
Oh.
so you don't remember though when we were looking for engines? And do you remember who came in to show us their engine?
No.
We got the Mark Rain came in, said, "Hey, I have a new engine. It's called Unreal. Do you
Oh,
guys?"
right.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yep. So he came in and pitched us to use Unreal on Blackwater.
In '96, Ash,
Yep.
that was like that would have
Wow.
been,
Yep.
and then we
Coulda, shoulda.
well,
I didn't know
They want to give
Unreal
us the
was
money
that
to do
old.
it, right? They want to give us the money for it. So they had this engine, and they were like, "Well, we're about to do Tomb Raider. Do you want to see this?" And we looked at it, and we're like, "We'll use whatever you got." We
Yeah.
didn't care. And that was the thing, is that, and then Blackwater was designed off the ability to make these type of levels. And this is before Tomb Raider 1 came out.
yeah, we had the upturned liner.
Yep.
We had all that stuff.
Well, the whole crazy thing about Blackwater and then Tomb Raider is that when Tomb Raider came out that Christmas, it was off the charts. We sent in our game design document to Sony, that massive document we made,
Yeah.
to get the game approved. And I think it was Bazu came back, or it might have been McGarvey, and said to us, "This has never happened. That they gave us a Christmas 1997 slot for Blackwater, and they've never done that on a game that hasn't been shown as gameplay. That they were just going straight off of our gameplay document." And we had
Yeah.
that huge party. Remember that we were like stars at the party, at the Christmas party. They were all patting us on the back, and then what? What was it? Maybe 5 weeks later, they were kicking me out.
Well, Adrian and Jeremy came, and that was I've always
Yeah,
advocated
all.
for I've always advocated for putting your design on the wall in it, and I think that worked against us at that time because we had everything up in that room, and they came and had a good old look and left, and the next thing you know, we were off Blackwater.
Yep. Right.
And
But then they started to keep me
right
on
in the
the
water.
They tried to keep me at the company. If you
Yeah.
remember, they flew me down to work at Iron Storm. They made me this crazy offer at Iron Storm. And I would have been like the 5th or 6th employee with John Romero and all those guys.
Yeah.
And I turned that down to go to Blizzard for Diablo. But yeah, that was a bananas little kind of 3 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I broke the game because I have a cheat with all items in, and I did not flood the room, so I can't
Oh,
open
yeah.
the door. So hopefully I can when I flood it now. It might work. If not, we can hopefully open the doors using cheat codes as well.
I don't even
And there was a
remember
question
where.
I missed, actually.
Yeah.
What do you think about AAA games aiming for realism rather than the style?
Don't
Well,
take that one.
Well, no, I shouldn't be taking this one, but you two are the artists. But I think it's got to be done with realism and style. I mean, you look at Wes Anderson, you look at so many movies nowadays. You look at Titan, or movies that have a very distinct art style. They're also so-called realistic because they're real. They've got humans, performing on sets in real places. This just has a charm to it that is hard to repeat, but so much of it is down to how playable it is. I mean, she's,
Exactly.
still the most playable character of all time. Her movements are perfect, and when you were designing these levels, and it looks like Minecraft now, or worse, in terms of what the editor looks like, but every single thing you designed, every block you moved, everything was connected. I always paralleled it to, you know, those executive toys where you put your hand on the nails. Yeah. And that's what it was like making this. You're not building blocks on top of each other. You're pushing out blocks. You're deforming everything. I mean, you know, and she's perfectly connected to everything, and that's why I think she was so successful.
But yeah,
You know.
the new games, I mean, while they look great, there is a bit of kind of, I'm not going to say laziness, because they're not being lazy. They do a lot of research and they go out and take tons of photos of things that they're going to put in the game and locations. But they are basing it heavily on reality. And, you know, this is not based on any reality. This is based on gameplay and making something look cool with the limitations.
Yeah.
So, you know,
And what's that thing, that suspension of disbelief? I mean, if you're in this world and it feels like a real place because of the lighting and maybe the color choices, you know, the stylization, I think
yeah,
you can create a more special place than just having everything look realistic.
right.
Yeah. I mean, I love the
There
look
is,
of this level.
Sorry, what you said, Phil?
I love the look of this level, the coloring, you know, and if you look close in areas, you can see where the textures don't match up, or, you know, you've
But
got
you
that
tend
kind
to
of,
ignore it because the way you play, you just run through and all that kind
Yeah.
of merges, so you don't
Yeah.
really notice it as much. Like in Tomb Raider 3, even though you do the same thing, you run through it, I still can see the imperfections. That's why probably it annoys me so much, that game. I just really don't like Tomb Raider 3. Not Tomb Raider 3 The Lost Artifact, which is one of my favorites, but the base.
I think you also have to be mindful in design of things like, I mean, a lot of the Tomb Raider levels, there was a lot of backtracking, and, you know, we're trying to push you forward always, generally. And I know we use hub area, but the idea is that you're always exploring, you're always seeing a new angle, or you're seeing a new approach to something. So the old Gold River thing turned out pretty well.
Yeah, it's kind of cool, and it was kind of, you know, frightening, because you knew that, like, how do I get to that little block? Because if I fall, I'm done. It's not I can swim around. You turn
Yeah.
the fire and it's over. But I think, Ash, you kind of nailed something there with the when you're saying you're running past everything, right? Because
Yeah.
if you look at today, they could spend upwards of like $50-60 million to produce like a Call of Duty game, even more, right? Because they know they're going to sell $1 billion worth of that title. But you running past these things that, you know, a team of 25 people built this level, and you don't see half of the stuff that they're doing because you're in a firefight. You know, you're running past it or just kind of trying to get through the level, and you know, there is something to be said about a pace, and the pace of this, where you could take your time and look around. And, you know, I remember when the game came out, when we first got it, and we were so in awe of the first level for Tomb Raider 1, of just running around that stupid area when the bear comes out and then the dinosaur eventually comes out, and we were like, we could do so much with this little area, so many different designs with this one little moment, because it was so limited, yet our minds were just kind of blown away because it was so revolutionary.
The way she would look off to the side, and
Yeah.
you know, just the way the auto aim worked and everything, it was, you know.
I'm just downloading some save files because I did glitch it and we can't open the door. So I'm just going to download some save files that will let us pass it. Pardon me. I'm just going to read this nice message for you all, though. I simply wanted to say to the developers, thank you from the bottom of my heart for creating the best game in the world. My whole life would not be the same without it. That's from Croft Rider.
Oh, wow.
Aw.
Thanks.
That's really sweet.
I think you guys
That
don't
is
know
pretty
how
sweet.
much like hearts you actually touched with the gold packs, because lots of people love them like a lot. Like they're one of the best ones. You guys are not like you are unsung heroes, as I was saying before. Obviously, core design well, the core design were unsung heroes as well, in all fairness. Because pretty much management was getting all the...
Someone said in chat there about Stella. That's not the Stella of all those early Tomb Raider. There used to be I used to talk to somebody called Stella a lot about the Tomb Raider sites and do interviews.
Yes, the one that writes walkthroughs and stuff. She's still going.
Yeah. And then there was
going.
the Croft Times. That was always a good one as well.
That one unfortunately doesn't exist anymore. But I was in touch with the guy because I managed to find some of his website on archive.org, and I wanted to preserve it on my website. So I contacted him and said, "Look, are you okay with me stealing it from archive?" He's like, "Yeah, sure. I wish I had it, but unfortunately my PC kind of went tits up." So there we go. We are back in business.
Hooray!
Hey.
Oh yeah, this room was hard. I remember trying to get, because it was still, even though the tools were brilliant, we still had a lot of time making representative art, Kris. Things that actually looked like something, like a tower or a giant cat head or a old statue, or so. You definitely got.
What was your main inspiration for the Golden Mask itself, for the entire game? I'm pretty sure. Not sure if you answered that before. I think you have, but if you haven't, do tell us.
I don't know. It was just a really interesting mix of cultures. Firstly, the whole America USA thing. Then I don't remember if we'd read something about it, but the whole idea that in the Bering Straits. Of course, Blackwater was set there, so maybe there was influence there that we explored things that we would have explored in Blackwater. The idea of the Inuit nation and all this ancient civilization, and really because of the way Lara Croft had already dealt with so many different ancient civilizations, we kind of claimed this one for our own, and there was a lot to that, But honestly, we all had to sit down at the start and look at what we had and what would work appropriately, in terms of what we were taking from Tomb Raider 2. Like, we knew we wanted to have the snowmobile and things like that. It makes decisions for you. I always remember when I did Shadow of the Cat with Rebecca, I always remember that everyone said, well, look, Egypt levels are people's favorite. So we'll make an Egypt level. We'll return there, and that will be a good starting point. And, again, it was on PC, so not, Tomb Raider itself sold many, many copies. We sold about 1 million of Tomb Raider Gold on the PC, which at the time was unbelievable. I mean, I wish some of my other sold 1 million. Omicron 300,000. You know what I mean? But it was like we didn't have the same size of market. A lot, not as many people were seeing Golden Mask, and certainly not as many people were seeing Lost Artifact. But in a way, it just didn't matter to us. It was getting the job, right? It was the fact that getting the agreement, discussing the levels. Posing to them what we wanted to do. That's again why we didn't do Lair of Peking, if you remember that one, Rebecca. I think we talked about that last week. But it was a very reactive thing. Very reactive thing. And the beauty of it was that they didn't expect a lot of pitch from us. We didn't have to crazily pitch or fight that hard. They just knew that these guys can put a game together in 3 months, and that's going to be profitable for them. It just, I guess, after Lost Artifact, it became slightly less so. And I don't remember the circumstances, Rebecca, when we pitched Tomb Raider 4 Gold, what happened, but different.
I don't remember either.
I think it was Rob Dyer in then.
Yeah.
It wasn't as pleasant being at IDOS. And then we stupidly, I stupidly mostly campaign to get our royalty deal upgraded, and I didn't realize how lucky we were because Core had determined, what we would get and everything, and in fact, they made it far worse, and I don't know. I got fed up with it.
Maybe that's why they got rid of us.
Yeah.
I can't remember why they decided not to do lore gold.
I know. It wasn't... I mean, I was doing Fear Effect, Vermin, Omicron, and things like that, but I was still very, very keen to do more Tomb Raider. Because it's so much fun to build. I mean, this next space coming up there, again, we did a bridging there that went quite well. Yeah. I love these screenshots in the middle. They're beautiful.
Yeah, they did amazing work. Could someone, sorry, Phil, I will interrupt you. Could someone please tell Lito to come on stream because developers are enjoying his artwork? Please tag him on Twitter. That it will make his day. It's his birthday. I'm sure he will be very honored to hear all that. Let's get him here.
This is one of my favorite bits to do. I love the idea of the cage in the middle of nowhere and then using all the Yeti guys.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember some of this stuff getting very complex. I remember there's a scene at the top of the trees that I just could not get to work. It's still glitchy, I'm sure, to this day. But trying to get a good impression of just these vast spaces.
Why do I remember this one being developed early? And we had it in our back pocket sitting around. We were working on it, and I remember you doing a pass at this almost before everything.
Wow, I don't recall that at all. I just remember asking Rebecca to do rock textures.
It was
rock texture. I don't know. It's funny. Thing. It's funny, Ash. I don't know necessarily what spaces people enjoy. I mean, I would say our spaces are a lot less representational than a lot of the spaces in Tomb Raider 1 or 2. Certainly in 2, when you think, was it 2 or 3 with the super realistic London and look at those shiny spikes.
Yeah, they're also reflective. Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to know what people really enjoy and like. I mean, this big space was just like a clearing in the trees, but for some reason it just feels like a really playable, interesting space. Obviously, you had to go into much smaller, narrower spaces, and but this main space had a really good feeling of. I always liked it when you could see enemies coming from a distance. You're at the top of a high place and you see the enemies start to climb up the crates. It always gave me a thrill when playing. And these Yetis are the same, like being able to see them coming.
Did you guys, this is going back to the why aren't you playing me levels, did you beta test the levels yourself?
Yeah, we played everything, and we forced Mike Smith to play them even more than us. And were there a bunch of guys as well testing them, or was it just Mike for our games? I think it might have just been Mike.
That guy Greg, for some reason, I remember him testing some stuff with us.
Yeah, I thought we had.
Tall guy with the beard and stuff.
Not Greg Rizzer.
Yeah.
Wow. I never talked to him about that, and I worked with him at EA for a long time. Wow. Yeah, there was a bunch of guys, but I think the main burden to play these was on Mike Schmidt, and so we were always messing with them. And it was the most exciting thing when you'd bring in a fresh new piece of it and get it over to Mike and say, play that. And then, of course, Core would tend to play them all as well. And they'd pick out all the stretched textures that they didn't like, and, But generally, I think they respected us after midway through Atlantis. We got a bit of respect from them. They knew that we were into it, and they knew that we knew what we were doing.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the level with the endless cage.
Puzzle. Yes.
Yeah.
I remember this.
Do you remember constructing this, guys? I remember this was a complete nightmare to design. I'm amazed that I didn't do it on paper. because it's really complicated. Wow. With
The
all
chat
sorts of
also
little
remembers
goodies.
this.
Yeah. Nobody's going to help you, Asher. Hold
I think the chat doesn't know. I'm on my own here. It's fine. It's fine.
Because we're
I
all
think I need
waiting
pull
to
them
get to
away.
Vegas. You know that.
Yo, waiting for Vegas.
Is that why you made Nightmare in Vegas as well? That's how you got inspired to call it that way? The level.
I can't remember what was with the whole Elvis thing. I mean, I'm an Elvis fan, kind of.
Yeah,
secretly.
you just wanted to
Yeah.
throw that in there. That was completely.
Rebecca's
you
not an
wanted to throw
Elvis fan. You're a, what do you call the country western guy you're a big fan of?
What?
What's
Isn't
the
he like-
country western guy you're a big fan of?
No.
I thought Rebecca always liked Morrissey and stuff, and the Smiths, and
No, she was
Ooh, I
into
live
that
in
guy.
Manchester, near Salford. Lots
Rebecca
club
was
stuff.
personal assistant to a country legend. What was he called?
Well, I helped.
Kenny
I
Rogers.
don't know if I've even talked to you since I helped his tour bus driver write a book for him.
Whoa.
I edited the whole thing. That was quite a long. That was my COVID savior, actually.
What was
Gave
his
me a
name?
reason to get out of bed. Huh?
I've forgotten who it was.
Oh, Merle Haggard.
Oh, Merle
Yeah,
Haggard.
Merle Haggard.
Because
So-
he lived a few streets over from me.
We could have put Merle Haggard in instead of Elvis, I suppose.
I think people probably appreciated the Elvis.
Well, that was the only
That was
To be
time.
honest, we
Also,
didn't get Elvis in the final retail version either. It's only in this unreleased early version.
Wait. It wasn't. It never got released in the game.
Nope.
It didn't come out.
No, it was replaced
No.
with normal secrets. Unfortunately, this is why we love that early version that we published literally a few days ago. It's so much better than what we got.
I
in
gave him all the
terms of
assets,
secrets.
Chris. You weren't here, I think, when we talked about that. All the black and white and leopard skin and all that stuff. So we're looking forward to Ash made a pledge to appear when he's playing the Vegas levels to be in leopard skin. So we'll see.
Oh, woo,
I will be.
what's that?
Are you still in this room, Ash? What's going
I
on?
am still in
This room, I
Leave me
remember this
alone,
being an
I'm
effing
foreign.
nightmare.
Yeah.
I got it. There you go.
I mean,
There you go.
brilliantly
Got it.
designed, of course, but yeah, an effing nightmare.
Yeah.
I got it. It's actually faster than last time it took me.
But again,
were there
again-
any enemies that you guys cut out from this at all?
No, we couldn't do a purely unique. As Chris says, we could only retexture, and the only enemy that we felt like we wanted was that bear from Tomb 1, and he doesn't appear in Tomb 2. So, but by the time we got to Elvis, we knew we wanted all the bosses we could find. So that was when we did Vegas. That was the whole reason for the convention, right? Was the Three Kings, and those were the Three Kings. And did we change the textures on the big bird, or I don't think we did, Chris. I don't remember though.
I mean, we did a pterodactyl.
We made the pterodactyls in Lost Artifact. I mean, that was a brilliant
Yeah, you did.
bit of switching, but we seem to be able to change the models in Lost Artifact, but in this one, I don't even remember how Vegas came about and why we thought that anybody would ever see it, because sometimes, getting all the secrets in every level is not easy. But I guess
There is a hidden level in Tomb Raider 3, the main game as well. If you collect all those, how many there are, over 50 secrets. I don't know why would someone do that. That game is piss. But yeah, if you will collect, there's
I think
59 secrets. Yeah,
we were always
You
very
get the level.
conscious of the fact that we were like this cut price extra add-on, and so quite honestly, there was always a desire to make the levels as long and complex as we could, and that really came to fruition in Lost Artifact, because it was marketed in America standalone Lost Artifact. We felt like that was the closest we ever got to making a full game of Tomb Raider, and therefore we had that pledge that all of our levels we would try to make them twice the size of any normal level. And we were looking at things like Richard Morton. I think one of my favorite levels of all time was, I think, South Pacific. And,
That's in Tomb Raider 3. Yeah.
Yeah. And just going from there, with these ones, you have to understand how, I mean, Kris was a young, normal lad, so he had all sorts of other important things to do, like being on the phone and going out clubbing. Whereas for me, being an old married fella, I would sit in my studio, and it was a great excuse not to come to work, of course. And 3 days a week, I would sit in my studio, and I couldn't stop making this stuff. I just couldn't stop. And, every day when I come into the office, I'd be talking to Rebecca and Kris and seeing what textures we needed and what was missing. And the levels would be shown with big areas missing. And then I still can't get over that how beautiful a lot of these textures are, and the thought process from Rebecca and Kris about where they came from, and how we ended up with all these fabulous color schemes. Because look at that orange. I mean, and this is me being enamored with Rebecca and Kris's textures, the contrast of those two colors, and so everything is that color, right? I mean, it's just. I don't know.
Well, so much of that was dictated by our. Didn't we have to do these textures in 64-bit or something like that?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah.
And that's why they're limited palettes. But I think that ends up giving it a really special look too.
Yeah.
This question is about Tomb Raider 3, The Lost Artifact. Sorry, Kris, I'll come back to you in a second.
There's a question about Slink.
Yeah, the feeling.
Well, that was another way in which we tried to put little clues and narrative in there. So Tomb Raider fans might guess already that SL Ink is Sophie Lee ink, right? And so putting that on all the textures and stuff gave us a little storytelling device, especially when people, if they got to the secret level and battled her, then it would all kind of pop into place. I'm looking forward to talking about Lost Artifact because I think it's freshest in our mind, and we should invite Kris back anyway because I'm pretty sure we tried to get him to be on it. And Kris and I and Rebecca together have worked together in so many different formats and fashions. I've done a lot of work with Kris in his own studio. They were there for a long time, and they tried to get me to there. We were all at EA, I think, at one point or another. Maybe not you, Kris.
I was only at EA when I was doing the James Bond game, but it was only for EA.
Right. I got fired from EA just as Rebecca was joining. I was so pissed off. Or maybe not fired, let go. I was an executive fire. This area is quite nice as well. Again,
those roots are awesome. The roots of the tree are awesome.
Still using those old bloody polar bear textures again. Rebecca must have been slacking off on this level.
No, that did not happen. You see nothing. Rebecca did some amazing work for the chat who have not seen our previous stream. Rebecca did amazing work on all the the Sims 3 add-ons, worlds and stuff like that. I'm sure we all find Sims 3 to be the best one out of series. I certainly do. I don't like Sims 4 at all.
I did. I worked on Sims 3 as well, Rebecca. An offshoot. I did like a Wii version of something. I've forgotten now. It was almost like a dating game. Now this is quality design, right? You got to agree with me, everyone. This is one of my favorite things to design. I love the fact that there's sort of little consequences. You look into this arena and you get an idea of how it works, and then the minute you get in there, you have an idea of what's going to happen, but you don't know when and how exactly. And
need to get there.
Guys sticking around in there. I love the feeling of life that enemies seen from a distance, that friends seen from a distance. I love the feeling of life that it gives as well. It's not quite like in The Godfather when you're able to aggro everybody come across, and you could. The best thing about Godfather were not my mission designs or anything. The living world where you could aggro different families to fight each other, and you'd have these giant street battles.
Yes,
and it was
I
definitely
remember
inspired.
Godfather vaguely.
Yeah.
We need to do the stream with that as well at some point with you.
Well, that was my baby. I remember every second of that process. It was 4 years of my life, so I'm still trying to decipher Rebecca's codes in the walls. She probably had heart Klaus somewhere. Look out
push
for
that
that.
block. Don't you push that one?
I think it's a door. If Lara can run into it, that means it's a door.
Yeah.
Oh, there's something happening here. Is that Sonic the Hedgehog, or is that a man? It looks like a man.
No, it's a bear with a big spear in it.
Spear going into him. It's upside down.
No, I mean these guys, the four.
Oh, yeah.
Things. Like
What are
the
those,
first one looks
Rebecca?
like Sonic.
Oh yeah, one does look like Sonic.
The Ninja Turtles.
Oh yeah.
Where?
Rebecca, have you been sneaking stuff into this game as well?
No, I wasn't that clever.
I wish we'd sneak Mike Schmidt into more than one game, though. That was my favorite bit. And that's another example of those single textures that is only generally used once. And you had to be really careful with those, that they were unique, but they took up space.
You guys, I'll be right back. One
Oh,
second.
there you go. There's a switch. There's two of them.
Now you're in trouble.
I'm not. There's guys fighting for me. Oh, that's like my gay dream coming true.
Yeah, look at them all. There they go. Watch you don't shoot any of them. Because the Avalanche guys have kind of followed you down there and they found you.
Yeah.
I'm sure we came up with what that acronym was, Rebecca.
What?
AVAL. I don't know. Maybe we
Oh,
did.
Lion, we will
I'm
come
su-
to the
oh, I'm
lost
sure.
artifact on the next stream. Keep that question in your mind later on. Oh, no, leave me alone, I'm okay. Oh, no!
He was celebrating. No,
Oh my
the
God.
question about Fake Nessie is a good one. We'll talk about that. But it certainly wasn't based. It's based on my Scottish-Irish upbringing. I'm a Campbell. So, yeah.
They
But we have
murdered me.
We have so many
Get the save
interesting
files.
stories. You'll have to tune in for that.
I need to get the save files for this now as well. One
What, you
moment.
can't recover from a Yeti death? Wow.
To be honest, all the death recoveries were made by the fans. Like, so if you die, you can actually restart if you want to. Again, that's not in the game. That's what fans made.
Right.
But in this instance, Yetis are insta-kill. In that case. Right, let's do this.
Insta-kill.
Let's see. I got insta-kill. Right. Okay, load. Let's see if this one will be good.
Love the screen.
Yeah.
Oh, I did that skull.
I
Yeah.
don't think that's where I'm supposed to be. I think I was a bit earlier than that. But
Oh, yeah, that
let's
was
load
full
it.
goal.
This is now the level names are broken when you load, so it's fine. Right, there you go. There you go. Back to where we were.
Oh yeah, you can drop the criminal. You can drop the Avalanche guy in and still not have gone in there. I think.
There you go.
Yeah, there he is. That was a good camera. Now, and you could stand there and watch that. And he's in so much
No,
trouble.
I want to get involved. Yeah.
Don't you know what happened last time?
Yeah, okay, you know what? Yes, that makes sense. I will go. I will save though. I just let them handle it. I will just go.
Oh, it's all coming back. It's so funny.
Now this
I
was
haven't-
clearly inspired by the South Pacific. Ugh, can't say it. The Isles levels in Tomb Raider 3, because there's plenty of these kind of tall trees and stuff, platforming.
It's so funny. It's like an optical illusion, Rebecca, that although it's the correct way up because the bear is being held
There's an
up.
arrow. There's an arrow telling me to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, does look like it's upside down.
Oh, people, I keep doing the posture check for me. Thank you.
Oh, this is where we did that crazy room that's like burning. The whole room is like burning gold. A bit like this, so, you know. I remember doing that. Like a pyramid.
There's a Yeti person coming to get me.
Yeah, where did that Yeti come from the last time? Well, there he is.
Yeah, he's coming. I think he can climb the things too. Yeah, there you go. He's climbable.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah. Done with you. Oh, there's another Avalanche guy up here. I'm just trying to find out where I need to go. I think it's this door, but it's locked. Oh no, it's
oh,
not.
you know the other. I'm sorry, I know it's the wrong game, but the other texture I was thinking of that I think we only used once was. Did we only use that, Rebecca, once the abandon ye all enter? Whatever that quote. Do you remember that?
Barely.
There was a little prison concept, and yeah.
Yeah.
Go on,
This
Ash. Cheek.
platforming will be. I will have to. I might have to. I remember doing this a few weeks ago, but I can't remember how to do this. I remember I need to go all the way up to the top and then all the way back to the bottom. I can't remember how I got there. Yank. Okay. Come on. There you go. What are you guys talking about in the chat, you silly bastards? They're going wild because my moderator is clearly drunk. It's lacking off Spitfire. Oh, there you go. There you go. Those guys again.
Yeah, this is a tough little bit to do.
Okay, we're going back. Off. There you
They're
go.
pretty easy to deal with that.
They all pretend that I'm deleting the messages, the chat. I don't know why they do that.
Now, if we'd had some
These
Elvis,
Yetis or Sasquatch. They're probably both.
I think we just
I just
called them.
realized
Yeah.
they're Sasquatches. Okay, I need to save here actually.
That was quite a nice. This is quite a nice slide down. Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm. Oh crap! Oh crap! No! Oh. Let's try again. You can always try again. Thank you for 15 bits in your matrix. Thank you everyone who cheered, by the way. Sorry, I there's a lot of stuff going on. I'm playing and hosting at the same time, so it's a bit difficult.
That's your excuse, and you're sticking to it.
Always is. I mean, even when I play just like on my own, I still cheat because why the fuck not?
To be honest with you, I lose the immersion playing, and so I keep looking at it and thinking, how the hell there? It all seems to make sense when you're actually playing it. You've got a lot better. I mean, I seem to remember this was a really annoying nightmare jump. Oh, this is the Yellow Brick Road.
Is that the from Alice in Wonderland again?
Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz.
Oh, Wizard of Oz. Sorry, yes. I don't know your Western fairy tales as much.
2 Yeti. How unfair. Normally, I'm
Also dead.
I hate having them spring up on you like that, but I guess when I'm playing this, I'm playing stealthier, I'm playing quieter, I'm, peeking around corners, I'm hearing the creatures. Look, even those corner textures are quite well matched, Rebecca. You did a good job there.
So you were inspired by fairy tales for these 3 gold add-ons then. So the first one was Alice in Wonderland when they had Tea Party and stuff. This one is Wizard of Oz. What was the Lost Artifact? I know we are
Not
quickly
really.
going.
I teach those now because I sort of call it a hidden narrative. And if you're completely stuck for ideas, which when we were churning these out so fast, right, that it was very easy to get completely blocked for an area or even a whole. What were you going to do? Where were you going to go? Often you just build aimlessly and then it would come together. But I would tend to look at some of those classic texts like Alice in Wonderland. So Shadow the Cat was very loosely based on that. And I have used Wizard of Oz as well. Just because those old stories and nursery rhymes are so well structured that this is where we really needed our own special baddie, right?
Yeah.
Not that guy.
I remember that thing.
I remember this little run around the back of that unit.
Scheiße, wow, 1-hit kill.
1 hit, yeah. You're nearly there, though. Ooh.
Hey, calm down.
This is
Sounds
the most
like my dog when she's hungry.
This is the most stress you've been under for a long time, Ash, I would say.
Oh, I don't know. You don't know my job.
Since
I work in university just like you, so.
we're hitting Resident Evil levels of stress. I remember, God, Kris, I remember you and Mel playing the very first Resident Evil endlessly and saying it was like the future of games. There we are, look.
Oh.
Hey. What, we actually got a credit in that one?
Yes, you
pretty
have.
good.
I don't think that's the fans patched either. I think that's how it was. But I'm sure I will be corrected if not by the fans in the chat. Whilst you're watching credits, I need to quickly give myself a piss break and also change the outfit. So 1 second. We were going to play the Nightmare in Vegas.
All right. I'm going to grab a coffee, Kris and Rebecca. I'm so glad you guys did this. I'm so glad. Because the 3 of us haven't been in the same room for,
Yeah,
Well, for your birthday, remember?
Oh, yeah. That's right.
that's right.
Give me a sec. I'm just going to grab a coffee.
How are you, Rebecca?
Oh, pretty good.
What
I
do you-
heard you're. How many kids do you have?
3 now.
You have 3. Oh my
I have
God.
A 3-month-old now.
A 3-month-old. Well, congratulations.
Thanks.
And how old is your oldest?
10.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's pretty
Yeah.
amazing. I bet you. Do you enjoy being a dad?
Yeah, I like being a dad. I have 2. The 2 youngest ones are 2 boys. So, and the oldest one is a girl. Her name is Vader, and we play a ton of video games.
Oh, fun. Now,
Yeah.
does she like to draw?
You know what? She's not so much into actually producing art, but she is into music.
Oh,
So creatively, she's really into music, and she actually has a pretty good voice.
great.
There I am.
No, games is what she's. Oh, look at that outfit.
I said I'm going to wear this. I'm wearing it. There I am.
Awesome.
Right, Nightmare in Vegas. Let's do this. I noticed that the early version of this time was actually called Viva Las Vegas. Is that right?
Yes.
Oh, we probably couldn't use that.
It was called that in one of the save files. There she is.
Yes.
Phil,
Yeah,
better get back in here.
There,
she's
if you back her
smoking.
into the corner, and let the camera swing around on top of her.
This corner.
Oh,
Yeah.
see it. What if you can't see it? Because I definitely put in. There it is. It's like a cleavage line. See it? You can barely. You can see it from certain angles. That was something that we had to change because I did a lot deeper than that.
Wow, really? But she has like in Trader 4, she has it much worse. You could see like literally
Really?
everything. Yeah, it was much worse in Tomb Raider 4. You should look. Like you could see like blicks, like the what you call it, reflection on tits and everything. It was really bad in Tomb Raider 4. Yeah,
Look at that.
That's why we like we think it's pretty much bullshit excuse. They probably just didn't like the outfit because she had it much worse in Tomb Raider 4.
Yeah, this was actually pretty fun when we did this.
Okay,
we
so
love this one.
I wish
She's
we could
in a hotel
holler
room.
at Philip to get back in here because I wanted to ask him.
Yeah, he's gonna want to see all this. So definitely slow down. Definitely go over by the
Yeah,
the video.
I'll wait here.
Well, if you go into that screen over there where you see the TV, what did we put on there? It's like almost like
some
what it
guy
is now.
dancing. Like
Yeah,
that.
it's like a GIF now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When there were before GIFs.
Oh, you started without me.
Oh, you blew it. We already saw the shower and the golden shower.
What are you wearing, Ash? That's excellent.
Matching. We're matching. It's me. I'm playing as myself. And
you're playing.
So I don't have the cleavage as bad.
I don't know how anybody could tell, but the biggest pain was, we complain about it, but it was really hard to make a realistic looking. All the furniture is way offsides.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at the little pictures on the TV screen. There's an Elvis one. There's a dinosaur one.
Finding the
There's
Ape right
King
there.
Kong versus Godzilla, and there's Elvis on that on the GIF. There you go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That Rebecca ever made. And there's Jeeves.
Jeeves.
Now, Philip, did I just dream this, or was part of the reason they didn't want to do the black and white is because they thought people would think something was wrong with
Wrong with the computer.
the game?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
exactly it. Yep.
That was the lamest
I know.
ever.
Black, white,
we
and
love
gold.
it. We love it black and white.
We thought
It's
that we
very
might
good
get
color.
copyright issues with all the Elvises, and I think we made them less Elvisy, right? Because there's all the clues, all the different beasts and stuff. But I can't remember how this even started, why we thought we'd do something crazy like this, and what are in those pictures on
You
the wall?
said you were in Vegas.
Those are Matisse, aren't they?
To Matisse.
Yeah, it looks like
You did say you
Modified
went to
Matisse.
Vegas during one of the developments of this. Didn't you not?
I don't remember.
Not at this time, but we did like Vegas, and we were just always talking about it. We just thought it would be a fun place to have a level.
Well, and
There you
Philip had this habit of singing all the time, and he'd walk into work singing at the top of his lungs.
Oh yeah, or Elvis, yeah.
So-
This is the beta version, everyone. This is early version of the Nightmare in Vegas. This one, for clarity, we'll call it Viva Las Vegas because that's how it was actually called in the beginning. We're playing this one because we prefer it. And you can play a retail version if you want as well. They're not very different in terms of geometry. They're just textures and enemies are slightly different. And secrets are different as well, which revolve around Three Kings convention. Which I'll show you in a moment, everything. I'm gonna play this in full. This is great.
I really like the idea that all these enemies were dressed up in Elvis gear.
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
These were the Vegas Elvises, and then we had the Jailhouse Rock Elvises.
Yeah.
I don't even remember that TV screen either, but we had so much fun.
That's just a aquarium over there.
Oh yeah, the aquarium,
Cool
yeah.
too.
With just the gold picked out everywhere.
Right. Goldfish.
Was it supposed to be Lara dreaming? Is that right?
No,
Like, no.
I don't think
she was
so.
Dreaming. That's why it's black and white.
I thought it was. I thought that was part of that cinematic. Remember, because the cinematic, she wakes up, and then it ends on the Empire State Building with King Kong in the end of the cinematic. I'll have to look at exactly the pacing of it, but we spin around her, and then in comes like a King Kong hand or something to turn the TV off.
I don't even remember the cinematic idea.
I don't either.
Yeah.
Jeez.
We need to see those concept arts.
I tell you what, Chris, we would have been killer if we'd been allowed to do cinematics. Wow.
Oh yeah.
We should definitely be employed by somebody with lots of money to do one again. You know, you were asking for a particular file, Tomb Raid, I think it's called. I remember that was the executable, but I couldn't find that one.
Okay.
I think it was there was one file you asked for. That was
room
editor. Yeah, and I totally remember using that, but who knows where that is. I'm surprised I even found these files. Look at that.
I'd forgotten most all of this. It's great. Great to see it.
Yeah, with the kind of
Caesar, Caesar statue.
Caesar, and then the way the little backdrop. It's an exhibition room, right? So I don't even...
the Yeti's on the display that we're gonna murder later on. Well, he's supposed to be a representative of King Kong, because over there in the cage there is a King Kong secret over there.
Oh, that's right. You can't grab it. Yeah. Considering that only 3 people in the world have ever played this. I know it looks like a cross, the statue, doesn't it?
I love Jeeves.
I love the fact that Jeeves is just wandering around.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there was clues. Do you remember we put clues on the statue as well? Do not climb the statue. Because people used to complain. One of the first complaints I remember getting was that we did textures that nobody recognized as climbing textures, right? And
yeah, on the statue it was a bit difficult to see what is climbing, what is not.
Oh yeah. It's so funny. It looks quite primitive now, but it was a blast. It
was a blast back in the day.
I can't believe it.
I think we did this. I'm not kidding. I think we did it in like a week.
Yeah.
Then you had to redo it. How long it took you to redo it? Last minute.
Actually, it didn't take long. I make a fuss about it. I was shocked at the time that they sent me home from we must have been in LA or Atlanta. They sent me home.
It was back in LA that year.
Yeah.
So yes, we were in LA. I drove down. You were down there, and I remember you telling me there was a problem, and that was it. You had to come back and do the textures. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was in Germany, so I was no help.
I think it was just finding because Rebecca, you made it all in color first, I imagine. Look at this now. That's a quality design.
Yeah, this is cool.
This is my favorite bit where the curtain. Yeah, we used a lot of the code to get all this stuff to work. But...
That block rock.
Imagine if this had Jailhouse Rock actually playing.
That would be very cool.
Maybe your guys remaking these can use Elvis. There should have been a cinematic there, really showing camera.
Yeah, and the curtain flip open. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you couldn't because it was just a flip map thing.
What was the swap out? Right, you had to go over there, and then we swapped that out.
Yeah, I would say that if you went to a real Vegas show and you came into a room and it looked like that, you'd be pretty excited. Yeah. It did come together very quickly, and I think you're having so much fun, you know, and as I say, the freedom we had just meant that you could come up with an idea and just implement it, you know. but all the time you're having to think, well, look, there has to be gameplay. It wasn't just a succession of environments. So trying to figure out what I actually create in the gameplay was the hardest part, obviously. It's just one of these endless block areas.
Yeah, you like them blocks, don't you?
I do like. I enjoyed the one in the Shadow of the Cat where you had to move.
Yeah, where you have to move for like half an hour.
and people get a good sense of accomplishment when they do that, I think. So
True. That is true. That being said, someone did point out, I think Pyro pointed out earlier, whilst there's no like proper way to play Tomb Raider 1 Gold and Tomb Raider 2 Gold on PC unless you like use archive.org or whatever, because these levels were effectively free when they were released, the PC version. But obviously Crystal Dynamics nowadays doesn't give it down, so they're not including Steam version of the game. When they did publish Tomb Raider 1 and 2 on mobile recently, they're not available anymore, but they were for a short time.
Oh, I have them.
Yeah. They were part of that. Tomb Raider 1 and 2 Gold were part of that, of the Tomb Raider 1 and 2 release on mobile. There's Elvis. There you go.
Did we do? Wow.
I don't remember that. That was great.
It was cut out in the final version. I would assume because of copyright issues. The secrets in here, in this level, they all look like normal secrets in the final retail version. But in here, secrets are brilliant. I wish they were like this in retail, but they're not, unfortunately.
I remember they released all three, I believe, for the Mac. There was a big a long time ago. There was a big compilation issue that I have those files, but they don't obviously work anymore. But I tried playing these on the iPad. How to use a controller because the touchscreen just is a killer.
Yep, I did it too.
The dinosaur heads as well. There's so many little touches that are so nice here. And then this became all jungly. I don't know how we made different textures, but again, there's a lot of the usual, looking through and seeing stuff and foreshadowing what you think might happen. I don't know if anybody expected that there would be two. I think there's two dinosaurs in this one, right?
Yes. There's only one you can see here, but one of them, second one appears later on. Where to download this Pyro, please check my website. I have downloads and also an instruction and video instruction how to install it on modern PCs. So have a look.
I don't know.
Vlog on that. Say again, Phil?
I don't remember where the T-Rex heads came from, but they wouldn't have come from Tomb Raider 3 because I don't believe Tomb Raider 3...
It was out.
Tomb Raider 2 had T-Rex and Tomb Raider 1 had T-Rex, so it would probably be Tomb Raider. They look like Tomb Raider 2 T-Rexes to me. Tomb Raider 3 did have a T-Rex in one area, I think, in South Pacific, that area of the map. I can't pronounce it.
Everyone loved the dinosaur in Tomb Raider 1, so it was a no-brainer, but we wanted to top it and have two,
In Tomb Raider 2, they were part of the secret in the very first level, as Retro is telling me now. Yes. So basically, there is a secret area in the very first level in Tomb Raider 2. If you reach it, there are two T-Rexes in there, and I think that's the ones you use in here.
Right. I think she looks good in that outfit. I like her pumps. And her little dogs.
Just to reveal Gold, please check my website. You can download it on my website, the instructions, how to play Tomb Raider 2 Gold. Just check it out. You can do it right now if you want. Okay.
Well, I gotta say, Ash, that this is certainly a treat for me. I haven't seen this version since.
We'll love it. We'll love it. Thank you so much for making it, guys. Seriously, this is so great. This is such a great surprise because it's 25 years of Tomb Raider this year. We got pretty much fuck all from the official channels, and for us to play this,
I mean,
amazing.
we respected them, and so it wasn't a huge blow that we still were able to ship in the end. But they Core were very protective, and rightly so, because IDOS might have. We loved IDOS as well, but IDOS would have shipped anything,
And they made a shit ton of money off of it. I mean, there was so much money generated on this title that the whole company hinged on it. So, this was...
That's why they were making the games, one game each year, because literally they were not making any money from anything else. I
never even realized the whole switch of personnel and everything, and how the dynamic of the Core team changed so much.
Core also had many issues in management type. There was... not sure I should be saying that on my stream, but one of the managers was like very abusive to people. Lots of staff left because of him. His name was Ken Lockley. He was later convinced. Yeah, he was later to be convinced pedo. Basically, they arrested him in 1999. Yep.
Yeah. It was a shock. We knew Ken, and then, of course, sadly, recently. One of our great friends on Core, Troy Horton, died.
Troy was one of the guys in management who actually was there for the small guy. There was huge love and respect for Troy, even from the community. They were not aware of his work.
I always remember taking Troy out at E3 when he was a very young boy, and Smith was probably there as well. And Mike Smith, we went around town in a limo that we stole from Charles Cornwall. It was a spare limo. Don't ask me how it happened. I don't know, Chris, if you were around at the time, but Mike played the role of Lord PlayStation, the heir to the PlayStation fortune. And I remember us taking Troy to Hooters and sort of bribing all the girls to make a huge fuss of him. And we got all these photographs taken of him because Hooters was a deal in those days. It was very odd. Anyway, that's probably too much information.
There you go, the Godzilla, King of Monsters. Second king collected. Can you tell us the story about CNET? Why there is a CNET van in here?
Yeah, it was a pathetic attempt for IDOS at doing some advertising. I think they agreed to do a review or something. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Chris and Reb, if we put the logo in, that's another of those single-use textures. It's maybe used twice, but yeah, we could have done lots of advertising, right? I mean, this was very commercial level. This one, it could have had all sorts of advertising and hoardings and
I just love how it really feels, the feel of being outside or being in a giant, being some massive kind of casino.
Yeah.
It just feels that.
Verticality is impressive in this level. It's very well done here.
Well, we always were, one of the things that Phil and I, when we always talked about design, because, I mean, we were talking about design even when I wasn't at the company. I was at Blizzard at the time when he was doing the Egypt levels on the first one.
Yeah.
And that's what we were doing. I drew that comic book, the manga comic book, and did all the art for the Doug Copeland.
Oh, that's fun.
I did all that while I was at Blizzard. I did it at night. So I did, I would get home from Blizzard working on Diablo 2 because I could work so fast on so much stuff that I was like, I'll do it at night. And I just, we had a deadline. I did all the stuff. Phil and I worked on so while we were working on that, he's showing me the levels. And, I believe you gave me on that one or the third one. I don't remember. You gave me a thank on one of them.
Maybe we were still too pissed at you after Tomb Raider 2. I don't know. On the phone all the time.
But, we always talked about how the levels really were kind of going to an amusement park and going to a Disney ride like Pirates of the Caribbean. Like you'd have these sections and you'd have these transporting areas to get to a different section. And we would break down levels, kind of though if you were actually there, what would it feel like? What would you look at if you walked through that door? You'd probably look over there, or train our eye to go over there. So there was a lot of thought into this one, and this one we did it fast, but it came out really, really good.
Yeah.
The statue thing, I
Apparently
remember
there
pushing
was
back on this.
a glitch. There's a glitch where the T-Rex when it can boost Lara onto unreachable ledge. Do you know about these kind of glitches?
No, but then again, we told you last week we didn't know that people could complete my first Atlantis level in about 30 seconds. I mean, that was a shock. I love the fact that the big thing at the time was all the edges, right? That you could get through every 90-degree edge and get into areas. So that's why we started designing areas that you're not supposed to be in. But the thing I don't remember, Kris, is, you know, obviously building these constantly and putting a lot of work into it. But I did no drawings of it. I just built it, right? And so how the hell did I figure out all these routes and paths? And I still can't figure it out to this day. I mean, on The Godfather, I drew every single level endlessly. And most of your fans, Ash, will have seen my design for the rolling ball area. But I did about 3 of those in my entire life. I mean, everything is just, because our time was so limited, everything is just hardcore building.
Well, we would design, you would go ahead and build an environment like this one room, and then we'd play the heck out of it and constantly hammer on it. And then you'd go away. Maybe I'd tweak it, maybe I wouldn't, but then we'd think of what would follow next to it. And again, it was kind of like that. We would transport from a location to another location, even inside of the same location. So there were sub-locations inside of locations that you could just build that room and play the hell of it. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Now connect something to it. Okay, what is that room like? So that's kind of how I remember us doing it.
I can't believe
you were working all the time on it. You were just hammering and building and building and building. This is probably I'd say 45% of actually probably what was built in all of the stuff we built in the end. Because so much stuff was torn apart and limited.
I think I was running out of ideas. Oh yeah, we needed big enough corridors for the brute to. You know, I can't believe that while we've been chatting, Ash is going to get the secret, and he's been playing through the whole level. He's hardly
skipped quite a lot of levels. It would probably take me extra 3 hours if I would not cheat. This pack is very challenging.
You know what?
So is Gold Artifact as well.
I do not remember the secrets being the different little. I really don't remember that. I remember this.
They're only in this version, in the early version. In the final, they're not. That makes sense because 3 kings. You got Godzilla, King of Monsters. You got Elvis, King of Rock and Roll, and you got King Kong. So 3 kings. Those are 3 secrets you collect. But unfortunately, in the final retail version, it's just normal. Jesus Christ! He keeps hammering the shit out of him.
Why didn't I? There was some reason why I couldn't change that texture.
Good.
There you go. Look at the secrets.
Look at that.
Elvis, King of Rock and Roll, Godzilla, King of Monsters, King Kong. 3 Kings convention.
Only 23 minutes. Wow.
Yeah, that.
Well, that was
this one is short one.
What fun.
That was a treat for me. I'm sure we were inspired by the Opera House, and I think we probably, we weren't able to do quite as complicated things. Like I remember we couldn't really do the doppelganger arrow properly because the code was whack. It was really weird for that. And so even doing flip maps was hard for us. Filling rooms with water was hard to figure out. The most difficult one of all, Rebecca, do you remember how frustrating it was? The underwater spawning the little underwater guys in Lost. It was broken to hell, and I don't know what was wrong with it. And that if I had I use cheats, but actually I love flying around these levels as well. All the bits and the edges, and
Well, if you would like, I can send you the build, and you can explore if you want in your own time.
Yeah. Are you playing? You're playing it on PC now, right?
Yeah, PC.
Yeah. And so tell Kris, tell Kris and Rebecca, I don't think you've mentioned to them what what in the Tomb Raider world you developed or you built a level. Explain that bit to us. That you I thought you had got a Tomb Raider level built that hadn't been built before, or was it just a version of it? I thought it was one of the first things I remember you talking about.
Yeah. You said something about the guy.
Gold.
Yeah.
Yes. Some guy, we will play them if you guys want after Tomb Raider 3 Lost Artifact stream. We can do some streams of like fun versions of Tomb Raider 4 Gold. But yes, someone already created a few levels based on your documents.
And we'll be hard on. We'll give them lots of advice. And Rebecca, will perfectionist about the text.
Well, yeah, we can play them after we do the Tomb Raider 3 The Lost Artifact. By all means, if you guys are interested.
That'll be fun.
Oh God!
It's a day.
You know what I just thought, Rebecca? We really do need Kris to come back, even though he wasn't on Artifact, because otherwise Gary will just talk forever, won't he?
I don't know, but I agree. It was great having Kris here.
All of you. Let's have all of you. I don't mind. People love Kris. People love you all. So let's have you all. I will speak to you at some point. We will organize another day for this stream. I'll probably take a day off just so I can focus just on this Lost Artifact, because that one is one of my favorite Tomb Raider games, and I absolutely love the secrets in it, and I want to talk in much detail on that, and I'll get it prepared. Now, the chat, it's your final moments to enter the giveaway, which is the signed autograph by Judy Gibbons, the voice of Lara in Tomb Raider 2 and 3. To enter, just type giveaway all together with exclamation mark on exclamation mark giveaway in the chat. You're paying the shipping, just so you know. Remember that. Now, is there any final words from you guys? What do you think watching this so many years after? What are your feelings? It's very interesting to see.
I have to say, I think it held up pretty well over time, given the simplicity of everything, that the limitations we had then. And then just on a personal level, I have to say it's one of the best jobs I ever had working with these guys. And
yeah,
wow.
I would say that we didn't know how lucky. I keep saying that over and over, but we didn't know how lucky we were to be. And when we didn't want to be left alone to our own devices, and now I've realized that through a career of this, that being left alone for 3 months and just doing it was like it's core indie developer stuff, really. And that's kind of how we felt. I've worked with Kris a lot since. Including the famous Scarface MTV Cribs. And Kris is a really great person to work with. I can't believe you have 3 children now, though. When did that happen?
Yes, the latest one came this summer. Another little boy.
Okay. So Kris and I have almost worked to this day, but as soon as he pays me, I normally hide for about 6 months, right, Kris?
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
He's always full of ideas, and my mainstream games career is probably done now, and everything for me is in teaching. But looking at these images, looking at these levels, I do think they've held up well. I think that the principles of design and the care we took on them, we know they're good Tomb Raider levels in general. I mean, people, in the next one we'll be talking a lot about people love the big expensive castle level. The first one, people find Willard's Lair, it's too puzzly, or it's just perfect Tomb Raider. I mean, we tried to give, when you remember, Rebecca, when we did the Hidden Glen and you were giving us all those textures, and everyone was trying to look up the Scotsman's kilts and all that business.
Oh, yeah.
I've done it.
I think Gary, ask Gary that next week. We should prime Ash for lots of Gary questions. Like, Gary, did you model the Scotsman's bits? That'll be a perfect question for Gary. I was looking at that Tomb Raider book. I don't know. I don't think it's the one you're talking about, Kris, but Crystal did a anniversary book, and they got hold of me really late about gold, and I gave them what they mentioned me, but Gary had already been there. He'd been like a year about the project.
Oh, so you since you read that book, you should have seen in the credits. I'm special thanks. I actually helped writing it, just so you know.
Oh, there you go.
Look at that. Yeah, there you go.
I'm not a big fan of that book, to be honest. There's lots of stuff that was removed from it, but I'm not allowed to say why in this stream.
Well, there should have been more gold stuff. I mean, funny enough, if you remember doing the Doug Copeland book, we loved doing that just to meet Doug and hang out with them.
Is that the one with
fun.
like
I mean, the fun little project.
Hold on,
But
I think
you know,
I have it.
It's called Lara's book, and
it was supposed to be a coffee table book. Remember, it was supposed to be hardcover, and they didn't do that. And
and the funny thing is, I probably still have archives on that where there was so much stuff on the cutting room floor. I remember I got my niece to write all the fan letters. They were all by the same person. But do you not remember for a while in the office, me, you, Frank Hom, Mike Smith went round photographing odd kind of Lara things in the office, and we did. But it was a fun book. But they left out the best bit, Kris, which was your manga, which was exceptional. I have prints still of that too. But did you get your originals back? By the way,
I do not have all the originals for the other art in the book. I have some, but most of it's gone. I don't know how somebody got it. I saw it actually for sale online. But the manga, I do have 100% because it never made it in the book. Right. So we did it and got it ready, but it never made it in the book. But I have to agree with the two of you that we were kind of lucky at the time to be doing what we were doing, and we happened to get along extremely well. Look, we were friends outside of work, during work. I mean, we still are friendly today. So like those kind of moments, we were in the industry at the dawn of this industry. And one of the things that I constantly say about the Tomb Raider Gold stuff was that we were pitching, when we were doing the Blackwater stuff, we were constantly talking about doing things that were episodic. Remember? Yeah. If we had just a small little bit of window of time, you could keep on doing episodes, which are kind of like, add-ons for games and stuff now. But these gold games are like episodic, little moments of Lara Croft that it was a lot of stuff that we were doing that was kind of fun and cool. And you'd never be able to do it now with 3 people. Never. We had nobody to answer to but ourselves. Literally, it was just us. Yes, you had to present it to them at the end of the day, but no one told us what to do, what we couldn't do.
I can't believe Ash doesn't have a copy of the best Tomb Raider book out there.
I have it.
It's a pretty exciting time.
Fantastic art throughout by Kris, and it did have the walkthroughs for the gold games as well. I seem to remember.
Yes,
had a whole bunch of weird stuff in it.
Yeah, it was fun. But yes, Rebecca, I think it was one of the best times that I had working. It was actually one of the few times I had working inside a place. I haven't worked internally at a company in decades.
Yeah.
Well,
I bet you. Did we even get credited in the book? I don't know.
Yes. Yeah,
Let's have a look. The credits will be in the beginning, obviously. Acknowledgements.
We were pretty lucky to be doing what we were doing.
Mike Schmidt. Paul Baldwin.
What? Baldwin gets in everywhere.
Oh, also, photographer Jason Nakano and manga artist Kris Renkewitz contributed greatly to this work.
Yeah.
There you go. I actually love this because it's so weird, this book, in the way it's so like kind of not really conventional in the way that other books are done. Yeah. It's almost like as if like reading a crazy fan's mind in that sense. That's why I really love it. I was just going through my collection of various magazines because I collect quite a lot in that thing. It was all the way in the bottom.
I have Tomb Raider scrapbooks and all sorts of stuff that I've kept everything.
You sent us the scans. Those were amazing, by the way. Thank you so much for that. There you go. Yeah, there's a
Air to Bed is in there. That story.
Yeah. which was a bit whack, the story. But I remember we were using your art. We were trying to get you to do as much as possible. We kept having to kind of, reuse and I remember, figuring out how it worked with the story, right?
Right. I drew certain pictures for each one of the moments in the story.
Yeah, and then we doubled up and we multiplied them, and I'm surprised you didn't work on that as well, Rebecca.
I don't even remember when you guys did. I vaguely remember when you were working on it. I don't know where I was.
I wasn't at the company anymore, Rebecca. I was down at Blizzard. I was doing it at night.
Mm-hmm. I think that must
I would
be.
assume that's not you guys. I think that's co-design. No?
That's Mike Schmidt on the right.
Mike Schmidt. That's
All
Mike
right.
Schmidt on the right.
Matt Miller. My
That's
goodness.
Matt Miller on the left. Yeah, totally. That's Matt Miller's back. Totally.
I had left IDOS by then.
And that's Frank Holm up close as well. Your fingers on Frank's face.
Isn't it?
But that's Smitty in the back. That's where we'd go in and we say, "Are you playing me levels?"
Why aren't you playing levels? And when Scout's there with the accent. Yeah, I missed this book. Yeah, it's very good. This one. Yeah.
Oh, you got a Chris.
I did not know you done the stuff. There is walkthrough for your packs here as well. Yes, I see it. Yeah.
And Chris's manga was based on the story of Shadow of the Cat, so it was all the bandits, mummies, and honestly, some of the hottest Lara drawings you've ever seen. And we know why that is, right?
This is yours, isn't it, Chris?
Yeah, that's stuff I did for that story, the Doug Copeland story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Beautiful.
You have a lot of swag there, Ash. A lot of Tomb Raider swag.
Well, I don't own that much really. Like stuff you see on the back, like except for that Lara statue. Lara statue was gifted to me by Peter Connolly, who did music in Tomb Raider 4, 5, and the Angel of Darkness. Because I worked with him on this music album called Tomb Raider Dark Angel Symphony, which was a reimagined work of his.
That's what I was talking about. That's what I remember you mentioning. I couldn't think of that.
Yeah. I should send you a CD, you three, if you want. Just give me your postal address and I'll send you a CD with that. I would really like you to have it. But basically, so that's the official one. The stuff you see on the walls, those replicas of Lara's guns, Kion and the amulet, those are fan-made. I commissioned people, including this one. I don't have the original one. It's
around. You're making Chris very jealous.
Yes. How did you even get the design of it?
Please, Lara's not correct. Pardon?
How did you get the design of the mask in that statue?
Designed it. They just
because that's kind of how it is, isn't it, Phil? Isn't it like kind of look like? Yeah.
Yeah, they looked at the photos and they just 3D modeled it and 3D printed it. If you want, I can get you in touch with a fan and you can have one.
You need one of those.
Why not?
People have been trying to buy mine off me for years.
Yes, they're very expensive.
Chris, I'll give you mine.
Oh, Rebecca.
If you have a spare, Rebecca.
Chris loves his swag as well. If you saw
down 25 years.
I'm at that age. I'm trying to downsize stuff. I don't need a lot of stuff, so I'd be happy.
Get rid
I
of
didn't
it
realize
without
you didn't
giving it
have
to
that,
me.
Chris.
Oh, well,
it'll go on the shelf proudly beside his Iron Man helmet.
Yes. Or my shield or my game back here. I don't put a lot
Rebecca,
of stuff
if you try to get rid of stuff and Chris doesn't want it, my shelf is always open for you. Just so you know, I will cover the shipping cost. That's all right.
We'll get on it, Ash. So maybe we should will you. I have some Tomb Raider archives. I tell you. So, but it's
please. Let's will me. Will stuff to me. I will appreciate it.
I hope your fans that come on the site don't get too bored with this, but it is lovely to come on and obviously we have faulty memories, so we can't remember everything. I, for one, was surprised.
You remember a lot. Trust me, you remember quite a lot from this story. We've done quite a few developer streams, and obviously because the guys done quite a lot of other works, and they were on a considerable amount of stress because you guys didn't need to do like programming as much and stuff like that, so they were doing loads of other additional work, so they were more stressed by that, so they don't remember as much. But you guys remember, so I'm actually surprised when I ask you about like, what does this texture like? Oh, it's Rebecca that it, and Rebecca gives me a story. That's impressive. That's really impressive to remember all that.
Oh, Russian, yeah. I'm still shocked by the Easter egg that Kris put in. I have never. I'm pretty
I
sure.
didn't.
That was a great
I didn't
surprise.
know that.
Mhm.
It's
That's
a very big
not-
surprise.
That's not Tomb Raider lore. You know, I wish there
It
was
will
more.
be. I'm sure someone will add it to Tomb Raider Wikipedia today if there's this Easter egg in there.
I wish there was
well,
more
Yeah,
things
sorry,
that
carry on, Phil.
that people didn't find. You know what I mean? Everyone found the Mike Smith in jail texture, but I'm sure there's got to be other stuff that we figured
I used to
out.
do it all the time at Marvel. When I was working on staff at Marvel, doing art corrections, they would put a poster in front of me, and I'd always put my name and people's names in the poster all over it. So there's like a famous Avengers poster that they just came back out with by this really awesome artist, George Perez. And they're running across sand, and my name is in the sand all over the place. And nobody knew it until I told two people, no, I'm like, look, you can see my name. It's right there. It's right there. It's right there.
I'm over there. That's very. You know
Why
what?
not?
You say that. Core Design did the same thing actually in Tomb Raider 6. They actually had in the main menu, they encoded in Sanglyph, which is like made up language that they created. They encoded their names and the names of their family members. Pascal McGuire done it. Not many fans know this, but yeah, it's all encoded. So you were very iconic that much that some other people done it too.
Yeah, it was, but it's funny. You know, it's funny when you do it.
In the Godfather game, I could tell you where every single name I came up with came from. It's everybody's in there. Every family member I've ever had, every friend, every enemy, they're all in the Godfather.
There's Dr. John Auckland mentions good thing. Recently, we discovered that in Tomb Raider 1 Egyptian textures, the name Heather is in there using like hieroglyph generator. It was made, so it's not proper name written in ancient Egyptian, but it is written in like the generator thingy. So farting sound on Winston that you guys call Jeeves is actually it was put in randomly. It was cut out from PlayStation release because PlayStation was like, oh, what is this? No, but the PC they kind of forgot to do that. So yeah. Well, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. Thank you so much for coming up to talk to us about this. Thank you for making this amazing game that we all enjoy and play. Chat, let me just give you your prize. So who will win this autograph? Stephen Clan, please message me on Discord and we will organize the shipping. Congratulations on winning the Judy Gibbons autograph. Chat, please spam with hearts so Rebecca, Kris, and Phil will see all the hearts and stuff like that. Come on, come on, chat.
That was awesome.
We'll see you next time. But you might have to pay Kris to come back. That's the only trouble.
Oh well, I'm sure we can crowdfund that somehow.
The beauty of it is because our paths have crossed so many times, me, Rebecca, and Kris, that we were there through that whole IDOS, Domark becoming IDOS and all the trials and tribulations.
Yeah.
And exactly how it went down at IDOS when we first got hold of Lara Croft and Tomb Raider. And I remember I wrote all the dialogue on the very website. They gave me a lovely watch for that. I think I mentioned that, but everybody was running by the seat of their pants. Because you remember, Kris, when we first got there to the San Francisco office, everybody just gave themselves a title. Like, something. I'm going to be director of, and Paul Baldwin, and I'm going to be director. And everybody. There you go. Thank you guys for being interested. And it's lovely to catch up with my old friends as well. And we'll see you next time.
Mm-hmm.
See you next time.
On Tomb Raider 3, The Lost Artifacts. That I will message you all on LinkedIn and you, Rebecca, on email. And we will organize the next stream real soon as well. And
sounds good.
I'll see you all very soon. People who are viewing us right now on Twitch, stay with. We're gonna raid out to someone else who's playing Tomb Raider. Let's find out. So Let's do. We are doing Sprocket, lovely Scottish lady. Tell her to do the disgusting parody. She will love that. She won't really, so don't do it. Right. Thank you all so much. And I will be streaming probably tomorrow, but we will have the next developer stream very soon as well. So stay tuned on my social media for that. We're going to be joined also by Gary La Rochelle, who did levels as well. Right?
Mm-hmm. I think he did a few. Mostly sculpture.
Yes, perfect. My Alzheimer's did not kick in just yet, so I remembered correctly. And yeah, so check out my social media for that, and I'll announce it then. Until then, see you later and enjoy your evening. Bye.
Bye.